Welcome to East Midlands Airport. Or should we say, the easiest Midlands Airport. The airport at the heart of the UK, flying to over 70 destinations. The easier airport with faster check-in and security that gives you extra time to relax and get in last-minute shopping. The airport that gets the kids on board before they get bored. East Midlands Airport, the easiest way to get away. To book your next holiday, visit eastmidlandsairport.com.
Green starts a new over and Munsey's away with a 4. First ball inside edge pass for 2006. Leicestershire winning controversially. And Munsey drives this one down the ground for 4.
On Friday night, went for 10. He comes in, bowls a short delivery that's hit high in the air and over the top of Ben Green. Joe Clark is off the mark. Here comes Wood, bowls. Hello. Is edged for 4. Over the top of Ben Cox's head. Straight light blonde hair, tall, runs in.
I said to Oliver
that's
just
going to
before we were heading down,
towards the boundary.
It's
going there and it's just going to win the battle.
Do you ever have that where it's days where like
Munsey, he pulls
just
this round the corner and he's going to get 4 runs for it.
It was one of them.
Need to make it 3 in a row. Nice shot from Clark. He's got hold of that one. Straight down the ground for 4, Joe Clark. But there's Mike. To Clark, and he's hit this one again, nice and straight. And he's got hold of that one, very close to the rope. I think it's probably gone all the way.
Comes in left arm. Round
and
the
it's
wicket,
just it'll say like this is busy, select another thing, and it's like, well, it's 6 o'clock, so nobody else is on there.
Travaskis in bowls, and same again, slightly straighter this time, and 2 more runs as well. 6 this time from Clark. Brown hair, diminutive, comes in, that is whacked over there to mid on for 4. Baseball style club bat from Clark. He loves it
as well. Next ball is he's bowled him. Clark is out. Pitched up delivery from Green. And a really important wicket for the Foxes. Joe Clark out for 42.
I prefer the full ferry. Is whacked down the ground for 4. Low full toss.
That's a joke.
In, and that smack slog sweep for 6. That is going into the Guinness bar. Oh no, in fact, it's onto the Milligan Road. You
I went to uni
with
someone called Arthur Guinness.
On the corrugated iron roof of the Guinness bar. It's a very pleasant afternoon. Pastel colours all around the crowd as Ahmed is in. There's the slog sweep again, and Ashton Turner's on the boundary rope, can't get to it.
Yes,
and that's over his head too.
Have a look at
so a second 6 of the over, and an expensive over for Leicestershire. 19 off it.
40s and 30s and 20s as well. There's Green in now to Jack Haynes, and he's lifted this straight to mid-off and out. And Jack Haynes goes for 5.
Love that.
So
ultimately that's
a lot of runs coming from the other end with Clark and indeed Munsey. Jack Haynes has fallen, and he's decided he's going to make the journey off to the far end, not so changing at the switch to Leicestershire's academy. And this one's reversed away by Munsey for 4, and that will bring the 100 up. Gets it away nicely.
No, I know.
He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and Munsey has whacked him for 6 into the Hobbit houses. And Ben Green in bowls as low. Oh, what's the... have you seen the Durham team?
Welcome to East Midlands Airport, or should we say the easiest Midlands Airport. The airport at the heart of the UK, flying to over 70 destinations. The easier airport with faster check-in and security that gives you extra time to relax and get in last-minute shopping. The airport that gets the kids on board before they get bored. East Midlands Airport, the easiest way to get away. To book your next holiday, visit eastmidlandsairport.com.
quite easy to say in an anglophobic way, but they make no sense. Like they there's Stringer. No, he's just down right in front of us. They've got like the tunnel of kids, and he's at the far end.
Is he the photographer?
No.
Oh.
How long was on this? And I'm definitely down. After an incredible victory there, he will be in the semi-finals of Wimbledon next week. Well, we are looking out on the pitch. There is not a cloud in the sky here at Uptonsteel Grace Road for Leicestershire against Durham in the T20 Blast. And down in front of us, we can see the Leicestershire openers. Durham off to our left-hand side. And Oliver Shooksmith with me, Adam Whitty for commentary. There is something unusual about it. Ben Green, normally number 8, their captain, and someone who actually hasn't scored a huge amount of runs in this competition, is going to open with Stephen Eskenazi. Your thoughts?
Well, I definitely wasn't expecting it when I arrived at the ground, but I guess they have to try something different. Whatever's been happening so far hasn't been working. It's just strange that, as you mentioned in the Talking Foxes show, Rishi Patel 34 off 14 balls, was it? And then they've replaced him rather than replacing Eskenazi, who's been out of form.
Eskenazi, has a highest score of 14 in this competition. Maybe they feel like that hitting may be better at 4 or 5 or something like that, perhaps. Yeah. Once the ball has worn off a bit, that they want that strike hitting to come in a little bit later. Either way, an intriguing situation. We have seen it before, haven't we, where cricket fans, it's Sunil Narine, isn't it, who used to come in, who was basically a bowler, and would come in and just smack it around and see if he could get 20 or 30 to get the innings underway, but with I guess a limited loss to the batting lineup. But it's not particularly usual, is it, for you to promote your number 8?
No, and I don't quite see Ben Green having the same power game that Narine has, but I mean, I guess we'll find out probably within the first few balls he faces the sort of thought process behind this move. If he runs down the wicket and tries to hit the first ball out of Leicester, then that will be quite telling that it is that sort of move, promoting a bowler to try and get them off to a quick start.
Well, Durham are making their way through what is a tunnel of school children, waving their flags on the way out. They are in a yellow strip with blue arms and black trousers. The Leicestershire openers, Green and Eskenazi, in their dark green shirts and black trousers, making their way out onto the field. Durham, meanwhile, have had a bizarre T20 Blast. They absolutely thrashed Leicestershire in their second game of this competition. And they won their first 2 games, but they have only won 1 of the next 7, and are also alongside Leicestershire and are out. 2 changes for them. One incredibly experienced player in Bryden Cast, who's back from a hand injury. I presume that is looking ahead to the summer and the 100, isn't it, for Bryden Cast to be playing tonight. He was the top wicket taker for England in the Ashes over the winter, and they also have brought back in youth. Luke Robinson is going to play for them today too. So a reminder, Leicestershire have won the toss and have chosen to bat at Uptonsteel Grace Road, and we will be with you throughout the evening on BBC Radio Leicester, BBC Radio Newcastle and the Leicestershire stream on YouTube. Thoughts on Durham, Oliver?
Well, they look to have a very strong bowling attack. You mentioned Bryden Carse already. Matt Potts as well with England experience, and Callum Parkinson and Casey Aldridge have both been in pretty good form as well. They're coming off the back of 2 really tight losses, so I think it's going to be potentially a tough day for the Foxes.
Bryden Carse is going to bowl the first ball from the pavilion end, and it is a fast, quick bouncer, which Stephen Eskenazi ducks underneath. Hasn't got a bat sponsor, has Eskenazi. There is not a cloud in the sky. There is a pretty healthy crowd actually here at Uptonsteel Grace Road. People coming along, I suspect because of the weather, to see what is the final game, actually, final T20 game at Grace Road this season. They've got Nottinghamshire on Friday night at Trent Bridge, and then Derbyshire at the County Ground in Derby on Sunday. Carse, very tall, thin, shaved head with blonde hair, and he comes and gets Eskenazi poking at one outside off stump. Quick, that, doesn't it? That looks quick from Bryden Carse.
Yeah, no sign that he's hardly bowled a bowling of cricket this year. Straight on the money, and testing out Eskenazi early, who, as we said, is pretty short of batting form and has been out a bit through injury himself, and this is going to be a stern test early on.
Eskenazi has been completely out of form. He was away for a long period due to a family issue. Here's Carse, and Eskenazi comes down the track and has nicked that, and Durham have their first wicket, and Eskenazi's poor run of form continues. That is now 42 runs in 6 innings, and he's gone for a 3-ball duck, and he looked totally sort of well, he was struggling from the very off there, and he has had to go, and Leicestershire are none for 1.
Wow.
And sending Ben Green out there to thrash it around a bit hasn't really worked, has it? Even though he's not the man who's out, but they've lost the early wicket anyway. Yeah,
it's certainly not the start that they would have been looking for, and Grace Road has pretty much gone silent after that wicket. Not too much reaction from the Durham fielders, but he's practicing the cut shot, is Eskenazi, as he walks off. I don't think we can give him the benefit of the doubt and say that was a cut shot. That was a bit of a run down the wicket and try and hack it over the offside. The shot of a man out of form.
Yeah. The pitch looks pacey and bouncy from what we've seen so far, but you're right, he was trying to get to the pitch of the ball, but just threw his hands outside off stump, trying to get any contact on it at all, and failed. Rahan Ahmed is the man at number 3, which would suggest Patel might come in at number 4. In comes Carse to the fellow England international. The carry on that, both me and Oliver there have both just pursed our lips because that has flown through to the keeper. It was still rising. To a good length ball from Carse there.
He's not a tall man, is Durham's wicketkeeper Ollie Robinson, but he took that probably just over head height, and off the back of that, Durham are bringing in a second slip. How often do you see that in a T20?
Yeah, the 2 men out on the boundary during the power play. You've got a third man and a deep backward square leg. Carse thunders in now, kicking up his heels. He's past the umpire, he bowls, and there is a cut from Ahmed, and he's cutting out to that third man. But there was just, Ahmed is not backward in coming forward, but there he was. It reminded me of me playing club cricket, that does, when you are a little bit scared of what the bowler's going to do to you, and so you are already on the back foot. He was sort of leaning forward, playing at that, didn't get his footwork right, which tells you if a player of that quality is basically nervous about being hit by an incredibly quick ball, that tells you what it is like out there. Carse on the turn, he's got 99 on his back. This is the final ball of the first over, and he comes and bowls, and back goes Green and defends, and that is the end of a brilliant over from Bryden Carse, the England international, showing his quality there, and the pitch doing all sorts. Leicestershire are 1 for 1 in this T20 Blast game at the end of the first over.
Yeah, an over of the quality you would expect from a man of Carse's international stature. And, well, you can't really see off a bowler's 4 overs, can you, in a T20? But you almost wonder if he could cause some serious damage today. Will be Callum Parkinson to bowl from the Bennett end of the ground. He's taken 14 wickets in this competition, but perhaps more impressively has bowled with an economy of just over 7.5, despite bowling a lot of his overs in the power play. He comes into Ahmed, who launches him over wide long on for an enormous 6. It's a big old playing area here in Leicester, and we're slightly over to the right as we look at it, but that cleared the rope and some, went into about the 6th row of the stand, just got down on one knee and sort of swept it over cow corner. There was no doubt about that one.
Great shot. Well, I suppose the other side of the pace in the pitch is that if you do make contact on it, it is going to travel. And he was onto that so quickly. Ahmed has batted really well the last couple of games. What scores of... He's got 87 runs in 4 innings, but 75 of them have come in the last 2. 45 against Notts and then 30 against Yorkshire at Headingley on Sunday. He's just a quality player. Not used by England. He's been sent back by England. Despite being in the T20 squad for that India series.
Well, Parkinson looks for a response and fires this one in, and Rehan Ahmed defends on the front foot. After that first shot, the 2 men out are now quite straight mid-wicket and a long-on conventional ring. Otherwise, as Ahmed gives himself room and tries to flash this through the offside, gets an edge down to the short third fielder for no run. As expected, not giving the ball much flight. Here is Parkinson, particularly after how that first ball went. As Ahmed tucks this into the leg side, they think about a single, but decide not to, as the square leg fielder is quick to reach the ball. Almost a nasty miscommunication there.
He's still...
As Ahmed just pushes this one to the fielder in the deep for a single.
He's still the highest wicket taker in T20s for Leicestershire, Callum Parkinson. Left in 2023. I suspect he probably will be for a while longer. Perhaps Ahmed is the man who can overtake him.
Clearly very happy memories of playing here then. He will bowl to Ben Green, who's taking his time here before the delivery's bowled. Taken guard. And now fronts up to Parkinson and drives this one pleasantly through extra cover. A shot that wouldn't have looked out of place in the 4-day game. A lovely extra cover drive from Ben Green finishes the over with a boundary, and the score is 12 for 1. Ben Green off the mark in fine fashion.
Yeah, it's a glorious shot by Ben Green. He has the potential to really bat. He's got a decent record. He's got a List A century. I just don't think we've probably seen his potential in this competition. But maybe this is the place to put it. Maybe this will free him up, and that's a much better over for Leicestershire after the horrors of the first over. And it's going to be Bryden Carse to bowl the third. Live T20 blast action between Leicestershire and Durham. And it is Carse, the England man, stands tall in his run-up, comes in, bowls, that fast arm action, and it's played neatly by Ahmed behind square on the offside. He'll get a single to third man. It's funny, isn't it, because Carse probably defined and was emblematic of the criticism that England got for their Ashes bowling performance, wasn't he? Rightly or wrongly, you know, when people talk about what felt like a bit of a blunt bowling attack, it's Carse's picture who is that goes with the article, if you see what I mean, which I think is a little bit unfair. As Carse moves away from us from the pavilion end, he bowls, and that's pulled round the corner from Green. It's such a quick pitch, that was really onto him quickly, pulled off his body, and they come back 4-2. 15 for 1 is the score after 2.2 overs.
Yeah, I think he was unfortunate really, because he's not really an opening bowler with the red ball, is he, Bryden Carse? And he was sort of forced into that role and just tended to be a bit on the short side, which you know, the Australians will cash in on anything that's a bit too short.
He's such a tall man, really high release point too is Bryden Carse. Right arm over the wicket, bowling to Green, and that is past him before he basically knows what's happened. He has really got a bit of pace about him, Carse. It's a fast pitch. I had a little walk past it when I arrived at the ground, and it looks a very good pitch. Not a lot of green on it. Bit of a road, I think, but it's clearly got a ton of pace. And actually, it's not what Grace Road is famous for particularly. Quick pitches.
No, and it won't necessarily work in Leicestershire's favour here, having to face Bryden Carse and Matt Potts when they potentially don't have that kind of pace in their own bowling lineup.
Here is Carse again, 4th ball of the over. He's in, bowls a straight full delivery, which Green drives, and you heard the nice sound of timber off the bat, and it is played to Matthew Potts, the aforementioned, who fields, and there is no run. 2 balls left in this over. There's a decent hum around Uptonsteel Grace Road, despite Leicestershire's poor form. By the way, both of these sides, this is 5th against 6th, both of these teams having won 3 of their 9 matches. Leicestershire 3 defeats in a row, Durham 1 win in 7. As Carse turns, it's past the umpire now to the right-handed Green, who bunts this in the air. So, it's dropped by Sauter. He went for a one-handed catch and dropped it. Got his hands to it. It was nestled in his palm, actually. But the spin bowler can't keep hold of it. It was a sort of pull forward a script. It's a bit like a baseball shot, really, from Green, and he just couldn't keep it. It was like a goalkeeper going with that top hand to try and palm it over the top, but dropped it.
Sorry, I'm just laughing slightly. There's a loud song of Happy Birthday going on in the crowd.
Carse it is to bowl the final ball of the over, and Green just plays that to mid-wicket. That is the end of the over. I couldn't see whose birthday it was. It sounds like it's happening down below us, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Just as for the catch, I'm not sure whether he maybe picked it up slightly late. As you say, he was sort of going for the pull shot and ended up going to mid-on. And he's a tall man. I think it's Ben McKinney. Just didn't quite, perhaps if he had taken a couple of steps earlier, he could have quite easily got 2 hands to it. But in the end, Ben Green gets away with one. It would have been a spectacular catch in the end. But as it is, it was simply a dot ball. It's going to be Matthew Potts bowling the 4th over here down the hill. Let's see if he can find the same pace that his former England teammate has. This first ball is right on the money, back of the length, and Ahmed just taps it down the wicket straight back to him.
5 off the previous over, so it's been a strange start to the innings. 1 run off the first, 11 off the second rather, and then 5 off the third. Carse's figures 2 for 6, 2 overs for 6.
Potts in once more to Ahmed, who's backing away, looking to make room, and plays and misses at this one. It seems to come back into him slightly, considering keeper Ollie Robinson took it a few steps down leg side. Well, anyone who watched the England versus India T20 last night will know that a poor first over doesn't necessarily define the innings. England played out a maiden in the very first over last night and managed to make 200 on their way to a record victory over India. As Ahmed fronts up again and pulls this straight off the top edge. It's going to be caught by the mid-wicket fielder running around. I think it's Graham Clark. And another disappointing dismissal there from Rehan Ahmed, who, as you've mentioned, has probably been the pick of the Leicestershire batsman recently. Just was a bit late on this pull shot, I suspect, and straight off the splice of the bat, I think. And comfortable catch, and Leicestershire in trouble here at 17 for 2.
Yeah, it's not only that he's one of their best batsmen and an in-form batsman, but he's their main real attacking threat. He's the main batter who can sort of pulverise an attack and really put them on the back foot, and you saw how easy it was for him to clear the boundary rope. Rishi Patel, who's the new man in, can do that, but when Ahmed goes, you sort of feel Leicestershire on the back foot already. That's 2 wickets in the power play. And it's again, you are always fascinated by, you can't judge a pitch until the other team's batted on it, but it looks such a quick wicket. Leicestershire don't really seem quite prepared for it at the moment, just how quick it is and how difficult it is to bat on. Ben Green, 8 off 7. I'm not quite sure that is what Leicestershire were expecting from putting him up at the top of the innings. It's been a slightly strange start.
Yeah, well, as you said, Grace Road not known for being the quickest of wickets, and it's catching the hosts out at the moment. Rishi Patel will face his first ball and plays a lovely on drive that beats the diving mid-on and goes away for 4 runs. He just seemed to clip it off his front foot and didn't need to do anything more than time it with the pace in this wicket, and that was 4 runs all the way.
He's great off his toes is Rishi Patel. He played a lovely couple of shots at Yorkshire the other night or the other afternoon where he went more aerial with it, but it was a similar sort of area and cleared the rope.
Potts looking for a response here. He's back of a length. This one slightly squares Patel up, but the point fielder is on the boundary, so squirts into a gap for a single. Looks like Luke Robinson is warming up in the Durham field, so might see 4 bowlers used in the power play, and I think that's probably what Durham will look to do here, is mix up their bowlers. There's plenty of talent in this bowling attack as Potts finishes his first over to Green, who defends into the onside for no run. The score is 22 for 2 after 4 overs.
Yeah, Potts, another one of the England bowlers. There's quite a lot of England talent, of course, associated with Durham. Emilio Gay, who's the New England Test opener. We've already mentioned Carse and Potts. Potts, who's part of the Ashes team as well, and had a horrible test. Where was it? Was it Adelaide? He had a horrible time with it.
Oh, was it Sydney in the final test? And Alex Lees, of course, yep. England pedigree from 4 years ago, 4 or 5.
Yeah. 2022, his last test. Sort of completely different style of batsman to what you'd expect. Certainly in the 4-day game, although he is one of the top scorers in this competition. It's going to be Luke Robinson who is going to bowl from the pavilion end to bowl the 5th over, and his first delivery spits up off the surface. It is wonderfully played by Patel, who cuts it late and plays it very fine. Behind square on the offside, runs basically almost just to the left of the wicketkeeper and all the way for 4, but there was a bit of an uneven bounce there. Patel had to react to that. 4 runs, 26 for 2 is the score.
Yeah, would have been a chance to one of the slips that Bryden Carse had in, understandably taken out for the bowler with less experience.
In comes Robinson, and there's a cut for 4. That one is a much more orthodox cut shot forward of square. Lent into that. Patel was onto that very quickly. That's probably the first time we've seen a bowler sort of get on top of the bounce, come forward to the ball in that way and truly attack it, and he beat the orthodox point, and that's back-to-back boundaries for Patel, 30 for 2.
Yeah, maybe just that sort of 5 miles an hour that Robinson loses on Carse means that Patel has been able to get on top of that one.
Patel waves his bat behind him as Robinson comes in, and this one's a straighter delivery, and I think he's going to get 4 again here. Is Rishi Patel, this time off his hips, glancing it away, and it races through mid-wicket, and that is 12 runs off 3 deliveries from Rishi Patel, who moves on to 13 off 4 deliveries, and this is much more like it from a Leicestershire perspective. 34 for 2 is the score. Patel announced to be joining Hampshire this week. Found out at the start of the week that he was leaving the Foxes, or at the end of last week, wasn't it, that he was leaving the Foxes after 6 years. It is Hampshire his destination, and he waits 17 not out. Tall man, slightly bent at the hips, and comes in, drives, and this might be 4 more. Is it going to beat mid-on? It is going to be stopped, but it's still rolling away towards the boundary. They will get at least 2, perhaps 3. Patel goes to the non-striker's end, and they do get 3. Green slightly slower. He was nearly sent back, but Green does make it, so there's 3 to the total, and we have had 15 off the first 4 deliveries of the over. Patel on to 20, and he did look much more in form. 34 from 14 balls to start the chase against Yorkshire. There was a part of you that thought that Leicestershire might make it if he stayed in, but he got out towards the end of the power play with the score 50 for 1. and he got 36 of those. Green it is who waits, right-hander with Robinson, right arm over the wicket, and he's driven at that, has Green, but he only gets an inside edge. There is a shoulder barge, football style, between Rishi Patel and Luke Robinson. Don't see that very often, do you? Both of them stood their ground.
No, I don't think there was any foul play involved, but yeah, as you say, neither was going to give an inch to the other there.
38-4-2. Listening to live T20 cricket. That's the academy prospect Luke Robinson with mulleted brown hair. Not quite as tall as Cast. Comes in, bowls a skiddy full delivery, which is gorgeously driven by Patel on the half volley, but straight to cover, and that is the end of the over, and an expensive over from a Durham perspective. That is 16 off the 5th over. You're listening to live T20 Blast cricket between Leicestershire and Durham on BBC Radio Leicester, BBC Newcastle, and the Leicestershire stream on YouTube. Adam Whitty and Oliver Shoot-Smith with you throughout the rest of what is a scorching evening. Still haven't worked out whose birthday it was, have we?
No. There were calls for a speech after the singing had ended, but I didn't hear one. As Potts will continue, Ben Green clears the front leg, slashes this one straight up in the air, cover's going back, and he's dropped it, and that is a really poor drop. And then to make matters worse, he stayed on the floor rather than going to pick up the ball, which means Green could come back from for 2 runs. Went straight up in the air. The cover fielder, who I can't quite work out who it is at the moment, had to take a few steps backwards, but it was a catch that you'd expect him to make probably 99 times out of 100. And then, yeah, stayed on the floor, which has allowed Green to get back for a couple. And Ben Green has another life. And this one is pulled away, got all of that this time, over mid-wicket, a couple of bounces and across the rope. And as so often happens, a drop catch followed by a boundary. And this is the sort of innings where Ben Green, he's had a scratchy start, he's now been dropped twice. He really needs to make the most of it and cash in here for Leicestershire.
Of course, I forgot that he was dropped the first time. I'm trying to work out who that is. I don't think that's Callum Parkinson. Might be. That's the only person I can think that it is over there.
Yeah, I think it must be, looking from who is everywhere else. Potts in again. Again, it's short, and Green misses this one, hits him high up on the thigh pad. He was sort of looking to flick it over fine leg this time, using the pace, but couldn't get any bat on it.
Yeah, that's 2 poor drops from Durham. First one was a much more difficult chance, but it just never looked comfortable, did they? The fielder running backwards. It's when they never get there, they're never set, their feet never get in the right position, that you know it might be a little bit troublesome. But even then, you would trust the hands of a professional cricketer to be able to account for that.
Certainly would. Potts 1 for 11. His figures as Ben Green clears the front leg and swings this one straight back over the umpire's head, who was sent ducking for cover as it took one bounce into the sight screen. 4 more runs for Ben Green, and perhaps just proving that once the initial movement has come out of this Kookaburra ball, or is it White Duke's ball? I'm not sure.
I think it's Duke's. I was told, I made a joke about a Kookaburra to one of the guys, I think it was Ben Green, a few weeks ago. Oh, the laughs we have. And he said there's no Kookaburras in any of the formats this year.
Well, Potts is in again, and he's bowled him. A Yorker on middle stump. Excellent response from the England man. And Ben Green goes 19 off 14. He had never really looked comfortable, played 2 confident shots in that over. Both went away to the boundary, but that was a great piece of bowling from Potts rather than a batting error. But nonetheless, it's 3 wickets lost in the power play again for Leicestershire.
And we can debate whether that... do you know what? It's the 3rd and final game. Both of these teams are out. Was it worth a try? Probably yes, putting Ben Green to open. Whether they'll do it again in the remaining 2 games remains to be seen. However, it was worth a try. 19 from 13 isn't appalling. There were a few good shots, but he lived a charmed life, Ben Green, there, didn't he? 48 for 3. Funny, isn't it? 3 wickets in the power play, of course. Everyone uses much often statistic that you're likely to lose if you lose 3 wickets in the power play, but I'm not quite sure. With a run rate at 8.2, Leicestershire will be too disappointed with this. A lot riding on this partnership, though, between Patel and Turner.
Absolutely is. The point I was going to make before that wicket interrupted was some of the shots perhaps show that this is a very nice pitch to bat on, as Potts is in to Turner, who turns this into a large piece of open space, which means he'll come back for 2 runs well in front of square on the leg side, bringing up Leicestershire's 50 with the final ball of the power play. 50 for 3 from 6 overs.
I think they probably would take that run rate of 8.3, but this has been the issue for Leicestershire. They do bat a little bit deeper than they did on Sunday with Deshward coming in, and still Ben Cox to go. I guess that was probably part of the reason putting Ben Green opening as well. You just elongate the batting lineup a little bit, don't you? So they've still got batting to come, but these two are the pair capable of really influencing matters and getting Leicestershire to a high score. Rishi Patel faces Callum Parkinson, who's bowling left arm round the wicket. Martin Emerson, the BBC Newcastle commentators, just texted me to say it was Parkinson who dropped that. It was the towel hanging out of the back of his trousers that was the clue. Here's Parkinson, bowls, and that's driven by Patel into out, making room for himself, straight to cover, and there is no run. The score is 50 for 3. Patel is on 20, Turner is on 2. This is the start of the 7th over. Here is Parkinson in, bowls to Patel, who prods at this slightly, drives but doesn't time it to cover, and he gets a single. And Turner, who has got ducks in his last 2 innings and hasn't bowled, so he hasn't done that this time. We know that. Leicestershire have relied on him when he has batted well. And if you think about the game they won against Sussex, which he won for them pretty much. There was a game against Derbyshire as well when they did lose that, but when he was batting, it was the only time that the Falcons were on the back foot in that game. He waits right-handed with Parkinson bowling left arm round the wicket, and he glances this pleasantly, square of the wicket, to deep backward square leg off his toes. Nice flick of the wrists from Turner. He moves on to 3. As Parkinson, average height, broad-shouldered, fair hair, comes in full and driven down the ground by Patel. He will pick up a single.
I think you'll be flattered with your description of fair hair there.
With oh yeah, it is, but very, very fair. It's a sort of naturally bleached blonde, actually, isn't it? Parkinson in, low full toss, which again is driven at cover, and it's stopped, but they get a single. It was spilt a little bit there, wasn't it, by Alex Lees, who's fielding. And Turner moves on to 4. So 54 for 3 is the score, and Parkinson doing what he does so well. Well, he did so well at Grace Road for so long, what he's carried on doing up at Chester Street in not conceding many runs. Just 4 off the 7th. And Leicestershire's run rate drops to 7.7. Hospitality tent looking nice and full this evening. So there's a few orange juices on a Wednesday evening, balmy night. But Leicestershire, yeah, 54 for 3, having won the toss and chosen to bat here at Grace Road.
You mentioned those 2 big innings from Ashton Turner. 53 from 22 here against Derbyshire, 57 from 28 against Sussex. His strike rate of 173 is by far the best of the Leicestershire sort of regular batters in this side. And they'll definitely be looking for similar from him tonight. It's going to be Nathan Souter to bowl for the first time, and Turner is right back in his crease and pushes this into the leg side for a single. Everyone in front of square on the boundary on the leg side, as well as a long off and a, well, for Turner it was a deep point. For Patel, he's coming around to more of a cover point position, as Souter, the wily leg spin bowler, will come in once again to Patel. This one's flat and on leg stump. Patel might feel he's missed out slightly, but he, well, I thought it was leg byes. He must have got a little edge on that one as it went through to the 45 position for another single. The sun baking down on us in the commentary box as well as the ground, as Turner backs away and cuts this one and helps himself to another single out into the offside.
These important overs. Leicestershire need a boundary really here, don't they? This is what, just 7 runs off the last 9 balls.
Sauter in again to Patel, who's been dropped again at short extra cover. He slapped it straight at captain Alex Lees. It came quickly to him, but there's a reason he's in close catching there, and he won't get many easier chances than that in that position. And Durham's fielding has been really poor here. Leicestershire could be 5 or 6 down. They did come through for a single off the rebound of Lees' chest, as Turner hits this one straight to Lees, who does the ground fielding this time, and it's no run.
If I was a Durham fan, I'd be incredibly grumpy with the fielding.
Sauter just taking a second at the end of his mark, finishing off what's been a very tidy first over with a bit of a drag down that's pulled through a very straight mid-wicket position by Ashton Turner. That one absolutely rocketed to the boundary, right out the middle of the Australian's bat for a boundary.
The thing about Turner is, and what he's very good at, is he felt a little bit up against it, but what you want from your gun batter, which is what Turner is to get that one ball and punish it and take the pressure away. There was a tiny bit of pressure building there, but he's turned what would have been another 4-run over into a 8-run over, and things look a little bit better from that perspective. 62 for 3 then after 8 overs. Leicestershire are Turner 10, Patel 24, and it is going to be Luke Robinson, whose first over went for 16 to bowl from the pavilion end. Right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Rishi Patel. He's past the umpire, he bowls, driven down the ground by Patel to mid-off. There will be no run. Ben McKinney is fielding there, who is tipped to be an England opener one day. McKinney, he's a very tall man, Sunderland born, but it was the discussion over who would replace Zach Crawley in the England Test team. A lot of the discussion was whether it was going to be Emilio Gay or McKinney. In comes Robinson, and that is turned behind square by Patel. Very good shot that. He's got 4 runs for it. Very fine on the leg side. Just getting a little feather on it as a pull, and using the pace of the ball to force it down towards the boundary. A little bit of a tickle from Patel there, and he is seemingly in good form today. If Patel is on form, he has the capability of getting a really big score in quick time. I've seen him score a couple of brilliant centuries in T20 cricket, one of them against Durham here actually, and he's 28 not out. That's a good slower Yorker from McKinney. That had a bit of shape away from Patel, and he had to watch that and dig out the Yorker and play it to cover, and he will get a single. A reminder, both of these teams all but out. They need the most miracle of miracles to get through. They're 5th and 6th. They're on 12 points. They cannot make it into the top 2 of their group, because Yorkshire and Notts are too far ahead of them with 3 games left. Here is Robinson. He comes in, bowls, and that is hit high up in the air by Turner. He's got all of that, and that is over and hits the covers on the far side of the ground. The ground staff sat perched against them, and it goes over their head, crashes into the covers, and there is 6 runs from Turner, who timed the pants off that. 73 for 3 Leicestershire now, and Turner looks in decent nick too, I would say.
He does, and those of you watching the live stream will have just seen how casual the ground staff were. It only cleared them by about 5 metres, but none of them moved an inch.
It dropped quite a lot, didn't it? It looked like it was going well over their head, but it wouldn't have missed their heads by a lot. Robinson, who's been punished so far, 1.4 overs, none for 27. Turner 16 not out, and he comes and cuts this, and he has clattered that for 4. What a shot from Turner. You could probably hear on our effects microphone how perfectly timed that was. Brute force from Turner, and that was a cut shot forward of square that nobody would have had a chance to stop, really. 4 more to him, 10 off the last 2, 77 for 3 the score.
Can't have been much more than 5 yards from the deep cover point fielder's right, and he hardly took a step before it had crossed the boundary. It was timed that well by Turner.
So what is Robinson's response going to be? He's going at over 15 and over right now. Turner onto 20 from 9. He stands, big, tall, thin chap, Turner, as Robinson is in. He smacks him, and that's 4. This time through extra cover. Bit aerial, but it was wide of cover, and Robinson, with his head down, sort of like a naughty schoolboy, walks back to the umpire, because he has conceded quite a few in that over there. The score is 81 for 3. So we had 19 off that over. That is an expensive over from Durham. Turner 24, Patel on 29. Now suddenly that run rate up to 9. Things looking a bit more positive for the Foxes. Durham will rue their drops. They've dropped Ben Green twice. They've dropped Rishi Patel. They may well be punished for it.
Yes, it will be Nathan Souter to continue. Hasn't quite had the tournament he'd have hoped, as Patel clears the front leg, swings this up. Deep cover is coming in and takes the catch. He was looking to go inside out over extra cover, but perhaps a bit of extra bounce meant it hit higher up on the bat and went a bit more square of the wicket than what Patel had been looking for. And, well, you'd say a comfortable catch, but I suppose at this stage nothing is quite comfortable for the Durham fielders. But Patel, again, a promising start, but couldn't quite kick on, which is potentially a metaphor for the Foxes' campaign this year.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. There's been quite a lot of 30s, and that's what the best batsmen do in this format. They don't get 30s, they get 80s, and there's loads of players in this team who can get 35 and get 35 in a way that gets you quite excited. You know, I'm sure if you're a Leicestershire fan, either watching the stream or listening to us, you would have thought, oh, they're on course for a big total if they carry on in this way. But you're never going to be able to get a score of over 200 really without someone really going on, and there's really only been one batter who has looked like that doing that, and that's Ashton Turner, who's in at the moment. But I think the highest score that any player has got this season will be 61. I think
so.
Which is Nick. Is that Nick Kelly or was that Ben Cox?
Yeah, Nick Kelly, first game of the tournament against Worcestershire.
How are you going to get through to the quarterfinals of any tournament in T20 cricket when the highest score for any batsman is 61? You're not going to win games like that.
As Ben Cox is the new man, and he's driven this one. Another nice extra cover drive, just went under the diving Alex Lees. They're coming back for a well run 2, as Long Off came round and did the fielding. But that sort of lack of individual scores has been reflected in the team scores. Their highest score of the season is 180 in the chase at Sussex, and you don't expect to win too many T20 matches if you can't score above 180. As Cox just flicks this one into the leg side. They set off thinking about 2, but in the end settle for just a single, as Souter himself did the fielding just inside the 30-yard ring.
Same is true of Durham, really, isn't it? They started very well. Alex Lees has got the 3rd most runs in this entire competition, but hardly anybody else has got above 200, have they? One other batsman, Clark, has got above 200 runs.
Souter will come in to Turner, who makes some room, and this time he finds the gap in a way that Rishi Patel was just unable to do. It went straight between 2 fielders who are in the ring, and they're looking around a bit at each other. I wonder if that was closer to Callum Parkinson than it first looked. There's almost a stunned look from the bowler and from Parkinson himself. As Lees was catching, he's now moved back onto the ring at extra cover. Parkinson had a more conventional cover, and he managed to perfectly thread the needle, did Ashton Turner. And this time he's taken a big, hoik into the leg side, got an under edge on it for a single. And you probably heard the call of run from Ben Cox. The sun setting over Leicestershire, long shadows from the floodlights, and the players now forming. as Cox faces up, and this is a nice drive to the offside sweeper. And it's another decent over from Leicestershire, but of course losing the wicket of Rishi Patel was huge, and they are 90 for 4 at the halfway stage. So positive in terms of the runs, but perhaps the wickets might serve to slow them down a touch as we get towards the end of this innings.
Yeah. And the answer really is this all once again rests on Ashton Turner. Now, he has delivered in a couple of innings, but they rely on him too much, Oliver, to get them a big total, and he's going to have to do that again if Leicestershire are going to get around 200. If he fires, someone's car alarm is going off somewhere. As the new bowler is Aldridge, and Cox goes back and cuts to backward point. There is no run. Aldridge, very tall chap, 6'5" all-rounder, formerly of Somerset, like a lot of the Leicestershire players.
It's a very tall side, this Durham side. McKinney is a couple of inches taller than him at mid-on. Alex Lees, Bryden Cast, Matt Potts all probably around a similar height.
In comes Aldridge, and that's uppishly driven by Cox. He didn't time it well, but he puts the aforementioned McKinney under a bit of pressure, and he spills the ball as it's driven to him, and they get a quick single. I think had he picked it up cleanly, they still would have got it. 91 for 4. Turner 29, Cox 5. The run rate just under 9 and over. But you're right, it is a very tall Durham team, very athletic looking. 55 on his back, he's bowling right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Turner, and he's in and bowls, and there's a leading edge from Turner. They will get a single to extra cover. There's a shot at the stumps, and they decide not to go for the overthrow, despite there might well have been one there actually. It was thrown square, level with the non-striker's end, missed, and there was nobody backing up inside the ring, so they might have been able to get another one. They don't, just a single. 92 for 4. Some other games going on around the country, I'll mention that in a second, as Aldridge comes in, and that's pulled by Cox, and that is 4. That's a wonderfully timed shot, got right on top of that. A short ball, might have been a slower bouncer actually from Aldridge, but it didn't bamboozle Cox, who got up tall, up on his tippy toes, and heaved it away for 4 runs through the leg side. Great shot. So 96 for 4. I think I mentioned the permutations, didn't I? They can't make it into the top 2 because of Notts and Yorkshire being better than them. Cox pulls away right at the last minute as Aldridge is coming in. And Lancashire may even struggle to get through now, because remarkably they tied with Derbyshire on Monday night. Derbyshire's second tie of this campaign. I doubt that has happened before in the T20 Blast. Certainly, 2 or 3 games? I think Derbyshire have tied a game. As Cox waits, 9 not out. He glances this off his toes, hitting the ball up in the air, but there's nobody in the infield on the leg side forward of square, so he gets 1 more added to the total as it's fielded by deep mid-wicket. And Leicestershire can't come in the top 2 for the automatic spots, and if they came 3rd, they can still get through, but it's the 2 best 3rd place teams out of the 3 groups, and in the other groups, in the South group, in the Middles and Central and West group, Ashton Turner drives to backward point and gets a single. So that is the end of the over. 98 for 4 is the score, so 8 off that over. So if I'm looking at the table, or tables, Central and West group, the 3rd place team Worcestershire have 24, so 12 more than Leicestershire already, and Essex have 20, so they would basically need those teams to lose every game, and Leicestershire somehow have an absolute miracle in terms of their net run rate. That's their main problem, and often has been. They either thrash teams or they get thrashed, so that is also their problem. But both teams are out just in all but name. 98 for 4, 12th over coming up.
Callum Parkinson back into the attack, 2 overs for 15. As Turner plays him nicely down the ground. That's going to have to get a move on here as they come back for 2. Cox is quick between the sticks, as so many wicket keepers are. As I think it's Bryden Cast at long off who did the fielding. That 2 runs has brought up the Leicestershire century of the first ball of the 12th over. As Turner clears the front leg, and he's not going to clear McKinney, who takes a very well judged catch at long on. And you probably heard the celebration from Callum Parkinson there. Lets out a big roar. He was very happy with that one. He just didn't quite time it, did Ashton Turner, as he has been up until then throughout this innings, and McKinney was in danger of stepping over the boundary, but lifted up his leg, checked his balance, and held on to the catch very well. And as we were mentioning, he's a very tall man and difficult to clear on the long off boundary, and Parkinson picks up his first wicket of the evening.
Yeah, you're right, and he celebrated because they know that they have gone a long way to winning the game here. As soon as Turner departs, they tend to struggle really once they get past 5 wickets, Leicestershire. Now they are a little bit deeper than they have been because there's a new man in. There's Ruan Desward making his Leicestershire debut, having come over for on what is a 6-game deal, basically the last 3 games of the T20 Blast and then the first 3 games of the One Day Cup. Because Nick Kelly has gone over on international duty for New Zealand's tour of the West Indies, so we'll see how he gets on. But this is his first cricket game outside of South Africa.
Well, first chance to see the latest Fox in action. He's wearing a long sleeve shirt, which I certainly wouldn't be on a day like this. But he'll face up to Callum Parkinson, and he's nearly gone first ball. He went right deep in his crease, and it wasn't quite wide enough to cut. And a bottom edge bounced over the stumps and trickled to short fine leg for no run. A nervy start for the South African. He'll face Parkinson again, and second ball, he's gone for the same shot that Turner played, and he's picked out the same man. And, well, I think Ben Cox's disappointed look at the non-striker's end tells you all you need to know. He was the left-handed batter looking to clear long off. Second ball, I mean, you have to question whether that shot was really necessary. And
I don't think you have to question it.
Well, Leicestershire all of a sudden in heaps of trouble, as it's Liam Travaskis coming in at number 8, who can definitely hit the ball, but you probably wouldn't want him in with just over 8 overs left of the innings.
And suddenly, with those 2 wickets, this innings has taken over a completely different complexion. 2 near identical dismissals. That was not a sensible shot, sadly, by Desward. He was the last batting hope, and he needed to play more sensibly than that. There is sadly no doubt about that. He had loads of time to see himself in. I don't really know why he's charging down the pitch second ball.
Well, Travaskis is up on his toes, playing his first ball into the leg side for no run. And Durham can look to heap on the pressure here. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see Cast back at the other end, as Parkinson finishes his over with another dot ball. An excellent over, 2 wickets and just 2 runs from it. He now has figures of 2 for 17, and as you say, Adam, this innings has completely changed in the space of an over. 100 for 6 is the score after 12 overs.
And they were on really for what, 180 sort of target, I think. But they'll do well to get 140, 150 at the moment. Leicestershire, they still have a decent run rate, but they just don't have the wickets in hand. Travaskis can hit a long ball. Cox is more of a nudger and a nerdler, you know, a 40 off 30 type of batter, which I suppose is ideal now. If he gets that, then the Foxes will be around the 150 mark, and it is Cox with a very open stance who waits as Souter is in, and that's a gorgeous cover drive from Cox. He gets a single out to the sweeper on the offside, and the score is 101 for 6 at the start of the 13th over. So just 2 runs and 2 wickets off that previous Parkinson over, who's come back to haunt Leicestershire, has Parkinson. Such a good bowler. As Travaskis, left-hander, waits as Souter's going to bowl right arm over the wicket, leg spin and pins him in the pad. There's a big appeal for leg before wicket and he's out. It looked plumb. The umpire took a few minutes or a few seconds to decide, and in the end raised his. It did feel like a few minutes. Didn't
it? A few minutes.
It did feel like a few minutes, a few seconds, and then raised his finger. That looked plumb from up here in the commentary box. We're going to watch the replay, and that is. Oh no, I was wondering whether it was outside the line, but looking at where he was when he moved his legs afterwards, he was right in front of middle when it hit him, and it would have pitched in line too. He was probably working out, wasn't he, the umpire, whether that had pitched outside leg.
Yeah.
It hadn't, and so Leicestershire are 101 for 7, and they are in real trouble now. There is still 7.4 overs left of this innings, but they're collapsing somewhat. How many wickets is that? That's 3. That's 3 wickets in the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 balls. Is that 7, 8 balls? Yep, 3 wickets in the last 7 balls that have completely changed the complexion. Josh Davey can bat. Has opened for Somerset, of course. This is not his expertise. What a strange old innings this is from Leicestershire. You sort of feel like I wouldn't describe Durham as having been on top. As Souter comes in, has nearly an inside edge on Davey. First ball, the ball dribbles away out into the offside. There's a shy at the stumps, and Souter scuttles away to stop it. Do you know what I mean when I say that? It sort of felt like there's been some silly shots in there for Leicestershire. Durham have done okay, but and they've kept the pressure on in key moments. Souter and Parkinson probably the key change of bowling. But there's been some high scoring overs. They put themselves in a decent position. Here is Souter, and Cox just clears that leg to make room for the bat and drives it to short cover. But yeah, what at 100 for 4. This innings had a completely different complexion as Souter comes in and Cox defends to cover again, short cover. So 3 wickets for 2 runs, and I suppose just as importantly, only and about 9, 10 balls that have been used up. Here's Souter, the mulleted spinner, and a wristy flick from Cox off his hips out to deep backward square leg, and that is the end of the over. 3 off it, and Leicestershire in deep doo-doo here. They are 103 for 7. Davey 1, Cox 12, and there's still 7 overs left in this innings, but you can't really see where well, I suppose high scoring is going to come from, let's put it like that.
Yeah, the spinners making the difference at the moment. We saw how much pace there was in the wicket earlier on, and well, they've shown that taking the pace out of the game has perhaps been more effective, as Cox gets an edge on this delivery from Parkinson and will come through for a single. By my reckoning, that's the first time Nathan Souter has taken more than 1 wicket this year in the Blast. As I mentioned earlier, he perhaps hasn't quite had the season he would have liked, but there's still a chance for him to end strong, and he certainly has been strong today, as Davey this time takes a single to long on. And I mean, they're at the stage where this is perhaps the best Leicestershire fans can hope for, is if these two can bat out the next 7 overs at a run a ball and try and get them up towards 150, as Cox takes another single to deep mid-wicket. Parkinson really tossed that last delivery up as he saw Cox advancing down the track. Davey faces up, this one much flatter, and driven firmly to long off for the 4th single of the over. Cox has 14 and Davey 3. As Cox flicks this one into the leg side, he nearly picked out the man who came sprinting in off the mid-wicket boundary, and in the end dropped maybe about 2 or 3 metres in front of him, and they'll complete another single. final ball of Parkinson's over, and it is an over of singles as Davey takes the final ball to long on. 6 runs from the over, 108 for 7 off of 14. Callum Parkinson's final figures, 4 overs, 2 for 23.
Fantastic bowling from Parkinson. Both Durham and Leicestershire fans have been seeing that for years, and those 2 wickets in that 3rd over have changed the complexion of the game in its entirety. You're listening to BBC Radio Leicester, BBC Newcastle, and the Leicestershire stream on YouTube. 109 for 7, the score, 6 overs left, and I think we're just going to see Leicestershire knocking around for singles from here on in, I suspect. Davey, 4 from 4, crouches, holds his bat at shoulder height, and he gets a leading edge, trying to clip it away into the leg side. They get a single. There's nearly a mix-up. Oliver puts his hands to his head, nearly a run out, but they do get the single. Davey onto 5, 110 for 7. Souter, not a tall man, quite thin. Very good spinner, tosses this one up, and it's flashed down the ground and fielded by Ben McKinney. Just got a message from Martin Emerson, the Durham commentator for Radio Newcastle, who points out that Durham have failed to get past scores quite a lot, and a lot depends on their openers, Lees and Clark. As Cox comes down the track, drives that down the ground, he's not going to get 4, he's going to get 1, as the long on there is quite straight, Casey Aldridge, so he is able to stop that. I thought that was well timed by Cox initially. So it was Davey who drove it down the ground. It is Cox who waits. Wide open stance. He's standing on leg stump at the moment is Cox. And there's a sweep from Cox. It's one of his favourite shots. He's timed it really well, and that is wonderfully stopped on the boundary. That was bouncing immensely, and you can see the response of the crowd to that, because that was a really great stop on the boundary out there. I'm trying to think, is that Ackerman out there? I think that might be Colin. You seem doubtful.
No, I honestly can't tell at all.
So it bounced right in front of him and he stopped it. Back goes Cox and drives out to cover. He will pick up a single. It was a lovely shot from Cox. It's one of his favourites, the sweep, and he timed it to perfection. It's a superb dive out there.
I think it must be Ackerman.
I think it is. Again, another former Leicestershire player who did so well here. Souter, final ball of the 15th over. There's the reverse sweep and 4. Great shot from Davey. That's a premeditated shot. Just changed his grip at the last moment before release and split the 2 fielders that are in the infield behind square on the offside. Pierced them, 4 runs. And Leicestershire end the over relatively well. 119 for 7. The score, and 8 off that over. Souter 2 for 30 off his 4 overs. He's not done too shabbily either. Durham on top, you would say, at 119 for 7. It's a good point that Martin raises there, isn't it? Look, we've got to see how both teams do on this. If they get Lees and Clark cheaply, which they didn't do in the return fixture, Leicestershire, and they got pounded all over the place. It was Graham Clark in the outfield.
Okay.
Martin is like our vision from up on the Roca Riviera, as he'd say.
Well, Colin Ackerman is going to come into the attack here, so Durham clearly seeing that spin is the way forward on today's pitch. He's just taking a second. I'm not quite sure what the delay is for, but at the 3rd time of asking, he will complete his run up and come into Cox, who's wrapped on the pads and is gone. First ball, Colin Ackerman makes the breakthrough. Cox had made 19 runs, but he's dismissed now. Just hurried onto him potentially a bit, and he was late on the shot, looking to tuck it into the leg side. Just going to have a look at the replay here. Looked dead straight, and it certainly was. Not much hesitation from the umpire there, and Colin Ackerman into the attack and straight into the wickets. He holds the record for the best figures in T20 Blast history with 7 for 18 for Leicestershire.
Yeah, I remember that night against Birmingham Bears. If you could, do we still call them that, even though it's in the past? I don't know. But what is now Warwickshire Bears, famous night, that incredible, yeah. 7 wickets. Knows this area well. Knows this pitch well. That one just didn't spin, was it? I didn't know whether it was an arm ball or it just wasn't getting a lot of spin on it, but it just didn't really move. And Cox played for the movement and didn't get it.
Well, it's Josh Hull in now who will try and scrape Leicestershire up to a respectable total alongside Josh Davey. Ackerman, sunglasses on, round arm action as he bowls this one to Hull, who plays out too long off for a single. He's certainly no mug with the ball, is Colin Ackerman. Hasn't bowled in every game this year, but has been called upon fairly consistently by Alex Lees as Durham captain, and Josh Davey just defends this next ball. He's sort of mixing up his action slightly here. The first ball sort of came right over the top of his head. The next two have been a bit more round arm, a very canny bowler, as this one's flat again and tucked behind square on the leg side for a single. And certainly seems like spin is the way to go today. Once that sort of shine and movement of the new ball has come off, the spinners have been very tricky to get away, as this one again is fired into Hull's pads, and he gets a slight leading edge and just dribbles out in front of him on the offside.
That wasn't a great ball from Ackerman. A better batsman would have punished that.
Well, he finishes the over to Hull, who tucks quietly into the leg side. The score is 121 for 8 after 16 overs, and Adam Whitty next to me is looking exasperated.
It's just a bit of a frustration, I think. They're still so long in this innings, and it felt like it sort of ran out of steam so early. Players got out too early, didn't they, having set themselves a decent platform. I think you could accuse Patel of that. I think you could accuse Turner of that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at sort of the recognised batsmen, and out of them, Ben Green 19, Patel 29, Turner 33, Cox 19, and yet none of them have gone on into a match-defining score.
Cast coming to finish it off. 1 for 6 his figures, and he bowls quickly, and Davey guides him away behind square on the leg side. That's a lovely shot, actually. Davey really does look like he can hold a bat. I've got 2 number 11s left. Hull is a number 11. Alex Green is a number 11 too. 1-2-1 for 8. Be really interesting to see how Leicestershire bowl on this and how Durham bat on it. There's been some great bowling performances. You've got to credit Cars, who came in and put Leicestershire on the back foot, immediately bowled with real pace and vigour. And then Parkinson, 2 for 23 of his 4 overs, changed the game in getting rid of Turner and Desward in one over. In comes Cars, and that beats Hull outside off stump. He can't really get anywhere in near the ball, Hull. Souter 2 for 32 of his 4 overs. Another key contributor, so pace off with the wickets, as you've heard Oliver saying. So I guess Travaskis, Turner will be the key men for the Foxes in reply, but Durham will certainly fancy their chances here of knocking this off quite quickly. Run rate 7.5, 122 for 8. That's a shame. They look sort of set for 180 at one stage, Leicestershire. They will not get anywhere near that. Hull waits, big tall man. It's a full toss. All he can do is really defend it and push it out into the offside. He will get a single. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. And if you're Davey, what do? I suppose you just stay there and nudge it around, see if you can get a 4 when you can, punish a bad ball. I don't know whether it's worth hitting out, trying to get to 140 and seeing what you can do from there. But they may just decide that with 21 balls left in the innings, that they could get to 145 or so by just finding the gaps and getting singles and 2s. In comes Cars. Davey tries to clip that round the corner. He gets maybe even at the back of his bat. And it is stopped by Ollie Robinson, the wicket keeper. Not Luke Robinson, or the other Ollie Robinson. gorgeous evening in this centre of Leicester. It's still really hot. I've only just stopped sweating standing still. Sun setting to our right hand side. I have barely seen a cloud all day. If you've been in Leicestershire, I hope it's been the same if you're listening up to us up in Durham, as Cars is in and crashes against Davies' pad as he tries to make room for himself and whip it away on the leg side. It's a dot ball, just 2 runs off this over. Cars' figures 2.5 overs, 1-for-8. He has looked every bit the international. Hope it's been a pleasant day up in the northeast. I'm sure it has, although I gather this is one of the hottest parts of the country at the moment, the East Midlands. Costadel Ayleston as Potts is in, bowls, and that's a slower ball of a good length, and Davey can't really play that, and got beaten all ends up by that, just sort of played it back into the ground. That is the end of the over, just 2 off it, and Leicestershire are crawling towards a pretty low total at the moment. On BBC Radio Leicester, BBC Newcastle, and the Leicestershire stream on YouTube. A reminder, you can get every ball of every game on BBC Radio Leicester. 2 games left for the Foxes. They play Notts away at Trent Bridge on Friday night, and then Derbyshire, 2 East Midlands derbies over at Derby on Sunday. Durham play Derbyshire on Friday night, and then Lancashire on the final evening. So this is strange, isn't it? I didn't see, it's a revamped competition. Certainly the North group has been decided already. What's going to happen with 3 games to go?
Well, it will be Potts to come back in to Josh Hull. This one is on the pads and helped down to deep fine leg for a single to Josh Hull. Yeah, I mean, Notts began with a bit of a shaky start, but then have looked really strong since then. 7 wins from their 10 games. Yorkshire as well with 6 wins and a tie. And Nottinghamshire across the last few years haven't potentially lived up to their promise in T20 cricket.
You've got 2 underachievers there, haven't you, in top of the table, Notts and Yorkshire.
As Potts will come in to Josh Davey. He goes for the big swing. He's got a top edge. It will beat Bryden Cast. It's just blocked by the sight screen. From our vantage point, he looked like he had got down to it. It was going quickly off the top edge down to deep third man, and he's got a long way down to go, does Bryden Cast, and just couldn't quite get down quick enough, and it managed to sneak under him for Josh Davies' second boundary. Takes Leicestershire to 128. As Potts is right on the money this time. Davey defends.
That's a vital little knock from Davey, isn't it? 16 from 15. And 140 I think will be the first target, won't it? They could maybe sneak to 150 if they play very well, but Davey holds the key, I suspect.
Yeah, you imagine it will be Cast and then Potts to finish off the innings, so it's not going to be easy to sort of hit a few boundaries in the final over, as Davey pulls this slower ball into the leg side where there are 3 men out, so he will just take a single. 129 is the score, and well, scores of 140 and 145 probably 8 times out of 10 you'd back the team batting second to chase that, but you never know in T20 cricket. All it takes is really one or 2 good bowling spells, and Leicestershire could defend it. That's a Yorker. It's hit well by Josh Hull, but straight to the fielder at mid-off for no run. Hull has 3 runs from 7 deliveries. I think Leicestershire would probably have liked him to rotate the strike a bit more, but you can't really, you can't at all put any fault on your number 10 batsman. At least he's staying around and ensuring that Leicestershire go most of the way to batting out the overs. As Potts will finish his third over. 2-hole with a bouncer. It's pulled off the toe of the bat, but he's got enough power to go all the way for 6. I think it was 6. The umpires are conferring. Oh. And in fact, they've given... Well, one's giving 4, one's giving 6. I think it will go down as a 4. He didn't appear to get anywhere near the middle of that, but he's a tall man and clearly got a lot of power. Oh, and I think probably a 4 is the right decision, but it's very difficult to tell. Gets the score to 133 for 8.
Yep, after 18 overs. To 10 off that over in the end. So not too bad from a Leicestershire perspective. 2 boundaries. Carse is going to bowl his final over. 1-4-8. He's going to bowl to Davey, who's 17 not out. And he comes in. Bowls a very good Yorker, which is very handsomely driven down the ground by Davey. That he will just get a single. He's sent back by Hull at the striker's end, just to reaffirm the point about the tables. Northant's already through. Going to be tight between Gloucestershire and Worcestershire and Glamorgan in the Central and West group, and then Hampshire in the South group already through, and then Surrey and Essex will have a straight bun fight. Probably Kent may hope to spring a shot, but they've played a game more than everybody else. In comes Carse, and back goes Hull, and actually for a number 10 plays that very well indeed. Just clipping it off his legs for a single behind square on the offside. So the North group, which Leicestershire are in, and Durham, is pretty much sorted. Still a few games left, but I think most of those teams we already know who's going through. I hope that doesn't become a sort of regular fixture of the tournament, with it being newly rebranded. Carse 99 on his back. 135 for 8 Leicestershire. Davey with a great he clubbed that straight back at Carse. I wouldn't quite call that a caught and bowled opportunity. Had he grabbed it, would have been an amazing catch, and it hit him right in the hand, and that has hurt him, the England bowler, because it was really crunched back at him, and it was put down in the end. They get a single for their troubles. Oh.
Well, thankfully he looks all right. That would be just his luck. The first game back from a hand injury, he gets one hit straight back to him, but doesn't seem to have caused any harm.
Just a bit of a breeze picking up. There's a change in the field. McKinney's gone... Well, no, he was about 3/4 of the way through the boundary. He's now been told to come into the ring. Fine leg is going out. There's a long leg to the left-handed Hull and a deep mid-wicket. And Hull waits. Bat raised at head height, and he goes back. And that's a gorgeous late shot. Just sort of playing it off the face. Down towards third man. He's found his rhythm, has Hull. A very important 9 from 10 deliveries. 137 for 8. There is 14 balls left. No, there's not. There's 8 balls left in the innings. That 140 target within sight now, due to this partnership. For the 9th wicket, which is now worth 18. Carse in. Davey ducks under it, but it hits the top of his bat, and it's going to run away for 4. That's a remarkable shot by Davey. He knew nothing about it. He ducked under it, but kept his bat high up, and it crashed into his bat almost off the middle, I think, and it's like a late cut that he knew nothing about. Crazy shot from Davey. I suspect he'd tell me he knew exactly what he was doing, but that has gone for 4. So big 4 that. 140 Leicestershire pass now. Davey on to 23. And I don't think I've seen a shot like that before in all my years watching cricket.
Yeah, it was a brilliant bouncer that just kept following Davey back in, but in the end that worked to Carse's detriment.
Carse, long run up, bowling right arm over the wicket from the pavilion end, running away from us. He's up to the wicket, he bowls a full delivery on the stumps. Davey drives and gets a single, and that will have been the first boundary that Carse has conceded. 4 overs, 1 for 17 Carse's figures. Brilliant stuff from the England international. In his first T20 since October 2025, he has looked very, very good indeed, and looks back with a vengeance after that tough winter tour. Leicestershire 1-4-2 for 8 ahead of the final over. Hull is on 9, Davy on 24. That run rate 7.5, and yet 150, which I think Leicestershire fans would have snapped your hand off for when the 8th wicket fell at 119 for 8 off 15 overs, or at 100 for 6. But it does still feel like a below par total on what looks like a quick and quite true pitch.
Will be Matt Potts to bowl the final over of the innings. 2 wickets already to his name. Slower ball into the pitch that's jabbed at by Davy. Looking to get it in the gap between backward point and third man. In the end, an under edge just going out to the fine leg region for a single. He has 25, which is could prove to be a very vital innings for Leicestershire. It's just a few adjustments being made to the field here as the left-hander Josh Hull comes on strike. But Matt Potts is now at the top of his mark, but no, still a few adjustments in the field. Well, they've currently... Oh no, they do have 4 in the circle. I was missing one. They've got everyone out on the leg side, as well as a deep cover point. And they're still not happy. Well, they can afford to do this now. The cut-off time, or the risk of missing the cut-off time has passed as they've made it into the final over. Potts spears this one in at Hull's stumps, and he plays it competently enough, but they can't get through for a run. He's not the quickest off the mark, is Josh Hull, and his weight was on his back foot there as he hit it to mid-off for no run. This is now Josh Davies' highest score in T20 cricket.
Great stats. Yeah, there you go. Been a vital knock. Without it, Leicestershire would have been 120 all out, really, I think. Whereas now the 1 boundary would be great for the Foxes. That's what Durham will be trying to stop.
Well, can Josh Hull find it? Not with this delivery. He's rather clothed it to long on for a single. 144 is the score. 3 deliveries left. And as you say, Josh Davey will certainly be looking to hit the boundary at least once to get them to that 150 mark, which perhaps psychologically more than anything seems like a big milestone here for the Foxes. Potts. Oh, that's a excellently bowled Yorker, but it's brilliantly dug out from Davey, almost between his legs, and it's gone between the square leg and mid-wicket fielder for 4, who was speared in at his leg stump. And take a look at the replay here. It's just in front of his front foot as he sort of jammed his hands down on it, but must have come straight out the middle of Josh Davies' bat. And 148 for 8 with 2 deliveries left now, Leicestershire.
A nutmeg.
Yeah. What can Davey do with the final 2 deliveries? He's nailed this one. Over wide, long on for 6. Potts again looking for the Yorker. Just wasn't quite there and ended up in the slot. And Davey is clearly seeing it well today. And that brings up the Leicestershire 150. 155 for 8. And I don't think we saw this coming, and I would hasten to say that not many of even the most faithful Leicestershire fans saw this coming. 154, in fact, is the score as Potts bowls the final ball of the innings. Again, it's a nutmeg, I think, from Davey. They're going to come back for a quick 2. The throw comes in from Nathan Souter and is a bit wide, so they will complete the second, and that is a brilliant effort from Josh Davey. 37 from 24 deliveries, and he's got Leicestershire up to a respectable score here of 156 for 8. And it looks below par, but in T20 cricket you never know.
Yeah, and I guess more importantly, it's the momentum with which you finish the innings too, and Davey will be very happy with that as we're up on the big screen. What was that? 142 off the 19th over, so 14 off that last over from Davey. a very, very important knock, very important partnership too at the end of it. 37 of 29 balls, that partnership at the end, which turned what was a very underachieving total for Leicestershire into a competitive one. You would still think, as you say, Oliver, that Durham are favourites to win this game. In terms of the scorecard there, Ashton Turner's 33, the highest score, decent contributions from Patel, but Josh Davies' knock right at the end, really, really important for them. 37 not out, and we mustn't forget Josh Hull's 10, as he was a good man at the other end too, to just play the anchor role. Well, Durham will require 157 to win this game. Whoever wins it will be their 4th T20 win, but we know that it will be quite a well, it's a competitive total for Durham, isn't it? Thoughts? I guess it's just that it just felt like a couple of swings right at the end. But if it was a boxing analogy, a couple of swings right towards the end to just unsettle the opponent a tad.
Yeah, I think so. I think perhaps Leicestershire will be frustrated with a few of their top orders dismissals, but they do bring some momentum coming into this second innings, and they do have a strengthened bowling attack with De Sworden, so you know they have the potential to defend this target. And as you were receiving on text, Durham, have struggled in similar chases this year.
Well, Martin's text me saying 147 Durham's average score in T20. He says 156 is a decent score. Very strong finish for Leicestershire, has put them in with a chance of winning this game here at Grace Road. If you're watching us on the stream, we will be back very shortly indeed for the Durham chase as they look to get 157 to win this game. A reminder, this is a dead rubber. Both of these teams are out, but there is plenty of pride to play for, so we'll be with you shortly if you are watching us on the stream. On BBC Radio Leicester and BBC Newcastle, we are live here at Grace Road as Leicestershire take We were saying Durham's still probably the favourites, but this game does feel like it is nicely poised at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. 157 won't be an easy chase for Durham. Alex Lees, the man in form, his last 3 innings, 43 against Nottinghamshire, 73 against Yorkshire and 108 versus Middlesex, which clearly presents him as the key wicket for Leicestershire. He will be opening the batting alongside Graham Clark, who made 62 off just 28 balls when these two sides last met. So if these two get firing, there is the potential that it could be over quite soon.
Well, yeah.
But
I suspect that the lot of this game may rest on whether these two fire. I'm fascinated to see how they do get on. They do bat deep. They've got quality players like Ackerman, McKinney, Ollie Robinson, really great players, but it is these two that it feels like a lot of the sort of impetus rests on. So it's going to be Josh Hull, who has been spanked around the park really in the T20 Blast. He's going at 13.5 and over across the whole tournament. Can the left-arm bowler do better this time round? His first delivery hits the pad of Clark, who's batting right-handed, and that must have been going down the leg side. Or certainly hit him outside the leg side. It is a dot ball and a bit of swing. Yeah, 10 overs, 1 for 134, his figures in this tournament so far. It has been expensive. And in his last over against Yorkshire on Sunday, that went for 24. It's just not quite found his rhythm, I'd say, across all formats yet. Josh Hull, a really promising player across an England Test international. He's running away from us from the pavilion end. He's past the umpire. He bowls wide outside off stump, and that is going to be a wide. I am just now thinking, now that the umpire has signalled a wide, did we see a wide in that entire...
I don't think we did.
I'm going to just have a look at the extras. There were hardly any extras. There were no extras.
Wow.
No extras. As soon as I noticed the umpire give that signal, I realised I hadn't said the word wide or no ball or anything. You've got to give credit to Durham there. That's magnificent, to concede no extras at all. Here comes Hull. He's in, bowls, and that's driven straight at green. And there is no run. Normally that's an extra 10 runs, isn't it, at the very least? If you get a couple of free hits in there that are punished for 4s and 6s, you get some wides that you have to bowl again. There's normally, probably 4 or 5 wides an innings at the very least. So to concede no extras at all in your innings is very impressive from Durham. We've had 2 balls, 2 legal deliveries in this over. So 157 the target for Durham, as Clark waits. Right-handed batsman, bat raised at shoulder height. In comes Hull. That's a full toss, and it is clubbed down the ground for 6. That was punished as it should be. It has a couple of people on deck chairs right by the side screen ducking for cover, but it was 4 in the end. 1 bounce 4. I thought it had gone all the way, but that was a poor ball that was quite rightly dispatched by Clark and went for a 1 bounce 4, only just in front of the boundary rope. So that's the first boundary. Clark is on to 4, 5 for no loss, 152 to win.
It's a bit of swing there for Josh Hull, and he's definitely looking to pitch the ball up, but that one missing the mark by quite some way.
Yeah, it was wide and about knee height, full top. So that one is shorter, and they're going to single as it's just clipped off the legs by Clark. He will go on to 5 on this Friday. On this Wednesday evening. I keep thinking it's a Friday. It's got the feeling of a Friday night.
Long week.
Yeah, you're telling me. But this is the one of 3 games this week. And it's such a shame, really, for both Leicestershire and Durham. Both teams have 3 games this week, and you think if they were nicely poised, you sort of give it the big sell, couldn't you? So come watch the team. This is, of course, the only home game this week for Leicestershire, but there could have been a bit of excitement around it as it is. That's a bit of a dead rubber. Lees waits his first ball. That's a very, very good slower ball from Hull. Shape away from him, sort of hooping in from the angle. Firstly into Lees and then shaping away from him. There is no run. Lees dangling his bat outside and not making any contact. You can probably hear the noise just raising a level. I suppose this is probably the moment where you've had your third orange juice, I suspect, and things start to get a bit more leery over in the Guinness bar to our left. Crowd beginning to find their voice as a healthy crowd. What is a sun-kissed evening in Ayleston in the centre of Leicester. Hull it is. 6'7", bowls another slower ball, and that is perfectly executed too. That goes between bat and pad, and Lees sinks down onto his bat. And is that the end of the over? Yes, it is the end of the over, and the score is 6 for no loss. Durham, they're already in a better position than Leicestershire were. They were 1 for 1. A little bit too early to be comparing. And Durham need 151 to win this game, as the big screen pans around with views of supporters. There's a very hearty wave from a lady there, both hands getting into the spirit. 6 for no loss, Durham. They need 151 to win from 19 overs.
Will be Alex Green bowling the first over from the Bennett end, looking to back up that good start from Josh Hull. Can he find a bit of swing as well? Well, his first ball's into the pitch, and a flashing cut shot from Graham Clark was out just in front of square, but Rehan Ahmed was around quickly to it to keep it to a single. And I suppose the advantage of bowling second on a day like today is that they've seen how the pitch has been playing, and you mentioned those last 2 deliveries of Hull's first over already going to the slower ball. Perhaps they're feeling that pace on this quick bouncy wicket may well go the distance. As Alex Green comes into Lees, who goes for the scoop, doesn't quite get all of it, but gets enough to get it between keeper Ben Cox and Josh Hull, who was up in the ring at fine leg, and it goes away for 4.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot. If there's been a real positive about this season for Leicestershire, where they've of course struggled in this format and in the county championship, it has been Alex Green. He's bowled really well in the past 3 games. But Lee's just, that's the shot of someone with that added bit of international quality.
Well, how can Green respond? This one is back of a length, and Lees is up on his toes, pushing it into the leg side, and it's well fielded by a tumbling Rishi Patel, who denies them the single that initially looked to be on offer. Yeah, Alex Green took a wicket with his first ball in professional T20 cricket.
Yeah, he did, against Derbyshire.
The last time I was up here for a Blast game. He's bowled 3 wicketless deliveries so far to Alex Lees, who again goes for the scoop shot, and this one has been scooped to mid-wicket, which tells you how successful, or unsuccessful rather, the shot was. He moved quite early there. I wonder if Alex Green saw him and maybe held it back slightly, or if it just wasn't quite executed the way Alex Lees wanted.
I think he followed him, and it was just a little bit too full, so he couldn't get the angle on it to work it away.
Green in right arm over the wicket. This is down leg side, but has he got a tickle on it? The Leicestershire fans think so. The players don't seem too bothered after an initial appeal. It's not been given a wide, so it must have come off of Alex Lees' thigh pad or trouser, but potentially getting away with one there, Alex Green. It was down leg side, and a ball that Lees would probably back himself to send to the boundary more often than not. But in the end, it is a dot ball, and it's been a good start from Leicestershire. Durham are 11 without loss off as many balls. And this one wraps Lees on the hip, and they will come through for a single, as the keeper has understandably stood quite far back, and so gave them the time to come through for a leg bye. 12 for none after 2 overs.
145 to win then for Durham to win this game. The run rate at the moment 6 and over. They need to go at about 8 and over. That for a professional cricket team isn't too difficult, but with the pitch playing as it is, with Leicestershire's bowlers with their tails up a tad, and with Durham being out of form, things may become a little bit difficult for them. Live T20 Blast cricket on this Wednesday evening with Josh Davey who played a vital innings with the bat, now asked to make a telling contribution with the ball. In fact, it's not Josh Davey. It is going to be the first ball for the debutant, Ruan de Swart, who's probably got some making up to do after a 2-ball duck where he threw away his wicket. He's in now, bowling, and that is carved away on the offside. It's a great shot, and it's made it all the way for 4. I first thought that would be picked up by the sweeper on the offside, but it just outpaced him, racing away through cover. It was a lovely guiding shot. Cover drive, moving the front leg out the way, and it stormed away over the boundary rope. Ruan de Swart, 2 tests for South Africa in 2024. I think we were saying, wasn't it? It was when they'd had a test series that clashed with the South African T20 franchise, and that's clipped up in the air by Lees, and he's not going to get 4 this time. He's going to get 2. There's a arrow throw out in the deep from Liam Travaskis, and so there's 6 off the over already, but he's in on a 6-game loan, 3 T20s, 3 one-dayers to stand in for Nick Kelly. So what are they doing here? The 2 men out. They are bringing in the fielder on the offside to the left-handed Lees. So they're bringing in backward point Rahan Ahmed, deep backward point, and they're moving out mid-wicket. There's a deep backward square leg as well, and Green fields from the next ball, which is bowled by de Swart, and Green is there to, with a long barrier, stop the ball, and they get a single for their trouble. So Lees on 11, Clark on 6. We have had 7 off the over already, 138 to win after 2.5 overs. And now back with the right-hander. They've again put a deep backward square leg in and a wide third man, and there is no man at extra cover, which is where that ball has zoomed through from de Swart, and that was punched away off the front foot by Clark. He will get 4, and that was a gorgeous drive that wouldn't have looked out of place in the county championship. Cover drive off the front foot, and there is 4 more to the total, and these two maybe just feel like they've settled in quite nicely, Clark and Lees. They've got the measure of the pitch, and this de Swart over has gone for 11. De Swart it is, running away from us, right arm over the wicket to bowl, and there's a big hit from Clark. That is 6 all day long, and that has gone quite some distance. That's gone a good 10, 15, 20 metres back over the boundary rope into the stands, and might have crashed into the restaurant down below us. That was right in the slot from him, and he just threw his arms through that, down the ground, over long on for 6. And we've had 17 off this over.
Yeah, he just hasn't found his radar. The previous ball was the right length but too wide, and this ball, wrong length but right line. He needs to find, both on the same delivery.
So here is de Swart again, final ball of the over, and Clark goes back. De Swart followed him, and he sort of guides it away in front of the square, in front of his chest, really, I guess. That is the end of a very punishing over from Durham. Brilliant stuff from their openers. 18 off it, and Durham are 30 for no loss at the end of the 3rd over. They are in pursuit of 157, so they need 127 to win this game. They've got 17 overs to do it, and they need to do that at 7.5 and over. There's a man with, I think, his daughter there, and she's got a camouflage cap in front of her. There's a lot of people sort of hiding away from the sun down to our left in the stand in front of the Milligan Road. It is one of those sun-drenched evenings that, if you're not careful, is going to mean that you wake up with a very red face tomorrow. What a gorgeous evening to watch cricket. Those shadows lengthening across Grace Road.
Josh Davey is going to bowl the 4th over into Graham Clark, who pulls this away, stand and deliver all the way for 6, and into the are they called the pizza pods this year?
Yeah, I refer to them as the Hobbit houses because they look like somewhere in the Shire, but yes, they are the pizza pods.
And well, he knew exactly what he had to do there. He just had to get enough of it, and didn't try and overhit it, did Graham Clark, and he now has 23 off 9 balls. And these Leicestershire bowlers could potentially be getting flashbacks to earlier in the season. The men out are long on and deep square leg as Davey looks for a response. This one's a better delivery, and it beats a scrambling mid-wicket who went down to the floor. I think he maybe slipped. Went down to the floor early and then was almost doggy paddling along the ground to try and cut that one off. In the end, it is a single, too long on. Cry of 1 and 2 together here from Ben Cox, and Leicestershire will be needing a wicket soon. This is one of those chases where a couple of big overs early on can already break the back of the chase and require Durham to just go for a run of ball for about 10 overs. This is pulled away and he's just found the gap. It was nailed from Alex Lees. There are 2 men out there, and Rehan Ahmed got a hand to it, got a decent piece of it at the mid-wicket boundary, but it was just hit too well by Alex Lees and gets past him in the end for 4 more.
Yeah, that was a fantastic shot, and these two have found their rhythm now, and they're going to be very dangerous to stop. You would have wanted to get them out early, but you're right, having been at the Durham game, it is giving me flashbacks now.
Davey in again, banged into the pitch, slower ball this time, and Lees gets on top of it and pulls it into the leg side for a single. Already the required run rate down to just 7s. Well, you do never know in T20 cricket, but this is at the moment looking ominous for Leicestershire. Durham are 42 without loss off just 3.4 overs. And still plenty of batting left in the sheds. Davey has gone for 12 runs off his 4 balls so far. Slower ball. It's a full toss that's whipped into the leg side. Alex Green at short mid-wicket. No, it's not. Ruanda Swart in at short mid-wicket. Got a good diving hand to it, which slowed it down and meant they could only complete a single.
Run rate 11.2. 4 runs above the required run rate. And you always look at the Duckworth-Lewis par, which is always a good sort of indicator of where you need to be, and that at the moment is on at 22, so they are well clear of where they need to be, Durham.
Needing a wicket here are the Foxes, and it's a good slower ball from Davey, but even that Lees is able to work away for a single, just dropping the bat on it into the offside. And the over ends 44 without loss, and 2 expensive overs, one after the other for Leicestershire.
Well, these two certainly have the potential to do damage. As you heard Oliver saying earlier, you've got Alex Lees, the 3rd top highest run scorer in the T20 Blast with 384 runs, 1 century and 2 50s. He's averaging 46. Got 43 against Nottingham on Sunday. And then Graham Clark, who's probably had an underwhelming tournament actually, 214 runs from 9 innings. But demolished Leicestershire last time they played up at Chester Street, a match which Durham won by 6 wickets, but with 6 overs remaining. The new bowler is going to be Alex Green, who bowls a full toss, and he's scooped up in the air for 6. That is not the best ball from Alex Green, and it's a good job that woman there, who's one of the waitresses, I think one of the corporate staff, was facing the play there. That was not a great ball from Green. Full toss at about knee height, and all that the batsman needed to do was just turn and twist and flick that away for quite comfortable 6 runs, and that went quite a distance as well. It was Lees, the batter, 23 from 14 he's on to now. The 50 is up inside 4.1 overs, and they need 107 to win now, and they're making light work of this, Durham. Just checking the ball to see if it's got any sort of signs of concrete damage.
Looks from our angle that he's pretty much batting across all 3 stumps here, Alex Lees. Maybe put Green off on that first delivery.
Green bowls, it was a slower ball on off stump, but you are absolutely right. I can see on the replay, I can just see the top of off stump poking out behind his legs. He's batting in front of all 3, and he's going to obviously look to hit it into the leg side. There's still got a long boundary out on the leg side, but there's nobody in on the infield. There's a deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square leg. There's 4 fielders on the infield on the leg side, and nobody out. So Alex Green's got to bowl to his field here. He's got to keep it straight. As Lees waits, left-hander, and he smacked that for 6. Pick that up quickly, and that has gone a mile. That's gone a good 30-40 metres over the boundary rope on the leg side over towards the Milligan Road and the pizza pods, and that's probably the biggest hit of the day from Lees, and that's 2 6s off the over, and not really bowling to his field at the moment is Alex Green, and he's gone for 2 6s in the first 3 balls of this over, 56 for no loss, and it's 101 to win now. This game could be over pretty quickly if these two carry on as they are.
Well, those watching the live stream will be able to see another wicket that's looking quite well prepared, 5 strips over from the one they're being used, and that 6 would have cleared the boundary on that wicket as well as this one. A huge shot from Lees.
Here is Green running away from us from the pavilion end. He's past the umpire, he bowls, that's cut, and that's 4. And that really isn't bowling to your field because there's nobody out there in the deep on the offside, and that was short and wide outside off stump to a bloke who's batting on off stump, and he's crunched that away for 4 more. That is 16 off the over already, and we've still got 2 balls to go, and Leicestershire are being pumped at the moment. 60 for no loss, under 100 to win. The run rate at 13 and over at the moment, and they are 33 clear of the Duckworth Lewis par. Green, broad-shouldered, 19-year-old, lots of pace in his line-up, and that is down the leg side, and that's a wide, so 17 and counting. Still 2 balls to go in the over. It's a lovely haze as the blue sky turns and fades to orange across the horizon to our right-hand side. There's a house over there in the estate around the ground, I think has the best view in Leicestershire Sport, where they've converted their attic. They've got the balcony open to watch the game as Green is in, bowls, and that is pulled, and that's going to be 4. There is a man at deep backward square leg, but it was too fine for him, and he didn't quite get all of that, Lees, but he got enough on it, and he got the placement right, more importantly, to smash it away for 4 runs of just 1 or 2 bounces. He's 37 off 18, and we've got 21 off the over, and there's still 1 ball to go, and this sadly is a bit of a sorry sight for Leicestershire. Durham are dismantling them, and we've only had this, the final ball of the 5th over. Green, can he respond? Lees moves across his stumps and smashes back at Green, and he's dropped it. Would have been a very tough chance. That was a toe end of the bat, and Green sulks over towards the umpire, takes his cap and walks off. Head, if he could put it any more down, it would fall off, I think, his head there, as he's marching off, chuntering and being very grumpy with himself there. So in the end, they got a single off the final ball of the over. That's 22 off it. Green's figures, 2 overs, none for 27. When you think his first over went for 5, that was such a punishing over. 66 for no loss. The run rate at 13.2. They need to be going already now just to run a ball in pursuit of 157. So they need 91 to win, don't they? And they've got 15 overs of us to do it.
Well, I think this just shows how well Bryden Carse and Matt Potts bowled at the top of Durham's innings. You saw Luke Robinson go the distance for them later on, and so have Leicestershire's seamers. It's a change of ploy here. Liam Travaskis comes in, but it is no change in outcome. I think that is the shot of the night. 6 over extra cover from Alex Lees. He just can't, well, he can't find anything other than the middle of the bat tonight. That's a remarkable shot. Got down on one knee and over extra cover, cleared the rope by 10, 15 metres once again. And Lees has raced to 44 from 20 deliveries.
Love an aerial drive, proper cover drive, but played right over the infield. Again, not bowling to the fielder, there's nobody out there.
This one's into the pitch, but again Alex Lees gets all of it, and again it clears the rope for 6. It brings up the Durham captain's half century of just 21 deliveries, and it's another brilliant innings from the in-form man in the T20 blast at the moment It's his 4th 50-plus score of this year's Blast, to go alongside 3 scores in the 40s. 50 from just 21 deliveries, 5 4s and 4 6s. And, well...
Halfway there. There with 5.2 overs gone.
Travaskis in again. He goes for another almighty shot over the leg side. Gets this one off the inside of the bat, and Travaskis fields off his own bowling.
They had a single there, and I think Lee said no to it because he feels so much in the groove that he doesn't...
Yeah.
Being a bit selfish and greedy, which I totally understand from a Durham perspective.
Would look bad if he was out this ball, which he nearly is. Flashes over at the offside again, though. This time just 4 runs, but it cleared the cover fielder by 3 or 4 foot. Cries of catch, but no real danger. And again, it's too wide from Travaskis with this field set. He's got fielders out at long on and mid-wicket. He's bowling left arm around the wicket. He can't give Alex Lees any width. This one cramps him up, and it will go on the bounce down to long on. They consider 2 runs, but wisely decide against it. A single. 83 for none after 5.5 overs, and they were 12 for none after 2 overs, which means that 61 runs have come off the next 3.5 overs.
Yep.
Travaskis has gone for 17. Will finish off his over to Graham Clark, except he won't because it's a wide ball down leg side. Cox did well to take it. Was fired in full at the pads of Clark, but just too far down leg side. This one is a much better delivery from Travaskis and played down to long on for a single. 85 without loss after the power play. Compare that to what Leicestershire are on, 50 for 3, and that tells you the full story.
Yeah, utterly dominant. Lees has put Leicestershire to the sword, 55 off 24. Clark at the other end has been watching the fun for the last couple of overs, but he's 26 off 12. They're going at 14 and over Durham in pursuit of 157. They're 85 for no loss. And look, Travaskis is a bowler who doesn't... he's a pretty parsimonious bowler, really. Doesn't concede many runs. Goes at about 7.5 and over. But that was an incredibly expensive over. He just didn't quite get his lines right. But I'm not sure about the field placings either. Rahan Ahmed is going to bowl from the pavilion end. His first ball is dragged down, and that is punished for 4 through what would be a wide, long-on region. And that is a poor ball by Rahan Ahmed's standards. And Leicestershire falling apart here. 89 for no loss, Durham. Durham have been very good. They've got some great big hitters. Lees and Clark have hit the ball to all sides of the ground, and it goes for the same sort of baseball style shot does Clark. This time he only gets it down the ground, but Leicestershire have bowled incredibly poorly, and I'm not quite sure about the field where they had all their players in the ring on the leg side, on the offside rather. Ahmed is going to bowl round the wicket to the left-handed Lees, and he smashed him down the ground. That's going to be 4. 1-2 bounce, and it just beats the despairing dive down at long off from Ruan de Sward, but it always looked like 4 as soon as it hit the middle of the bat. Just went over Rahan Ahmed's head, so that's another 4 for Durham, and this could be over very quickly indeed. 94 for no loss, 63 to win. We're in the 7th over. Ahmed spins the ball from right to left hand. Lees waits, 59 not out, and he cuts this, and there is a sweeper out there at deep cover, and he will field. So 95 for no loss. I don't know what you thought about that. I guess it's okay if you bowl to it, but Leicestershire were chucking the ball outside off stump with no protection whatsoever with their offside field. I'll come to that in a moment because Rahan Ahmed is ready to bowl. Clark on 31. And he goes back and just sort of bunts it back to Ahmed.
Yeah, I think particularly that last over, the angle Travaskis was bowling is always naturally going to push it across Lees, which just gave him all the room he could have asked for to go up and over the offside.
Here comes Ahmed, back goes Clark, and guides this away into the leg side for just an easy single. and he will keep the strike for the next over. 96 for no loss, and that is 11 off that Rahan Ahmed over. Even he's going for a lot. He's bowled very well in the last couple of games, has Rahan Ahmed, but even he can't stop the punishment. 96 for no loss. Lee's on 60, Clark 32. Durham are chasing 157 to win this game. They need 61 runs, and they need to go under 5 and over already. We have only had 7 overs, and if you look at these run totals, so 18 runs off the third, 14 off the fourth, 22 off the fifth, 19 off the sixth, and then 11 off the seventh. I think barring a calamity from the Durham batsmen, they are going to comfortably get home in this game. And Ben Green, another one of Leicestershire's best bowlers, really. He's had a bit of a tough time. He's getting 11 and over in this competition.
Well, he will begin his first over of tonight, the Leicestershire captain, and this is on Graham Clark's pads and just clipped leg side for a comfortable single. The score moves to 97 without loss, and you just see the difference between Bryden Carse opening the bowling for Durham, who was on the right length and bowling quick, compared to, for example, Alex Green in his over that went for 22 runs, bowling similar sort of lengths, but not quite getting the line right and not with the pace to trouble the Durham batsman on what looks quite a true wicket. This one's flicked round the corner by Alex Lees. Hull at fine leg initially seemed to misjudge it, but had enough time to pick the right line and keep it to a single in the end.
Well, I think in the previous game Durham got to 50 in record time. I suspect this might be 100 in record time for them inside 8 overs.
Ben Green into Graham Clark. This is going to be a wide down leg side, and we mentioned it already, no extras in the Durham innings, and that's already I think the 4th or 5th wide of this innings from Leicestershire bowlers. They just haven't had anywhere near the same levels of discipline that the visitors' bowling attack had. 99 for none. Green is in, and it's another wide, this one well down leg side, taken by a tumbling Cox, but that is Durham's 100 after just 44 legal deliveries. 100 partnership as well, of course, between Graham Clark and Alex Lees. Very little acknowledgement of that milestone between the two batsmen or in the ground. This is full and driven between extra cover and mid-off for a single.
Well, that was the fastest ever century or team 100 for Durham. 7.2 overs, beating since 7.3 overs the century that they got, that these two brought up in the return fixture at Chester Street. That's their fastest ever by 1 ball, and it was against the same opposition in the reverse fixture this season. So, not been happy for Leicestershire against Durham.
Ben Green into Alex Lees, a well bowled, slower delivery on the pads of Lees, who misses out this time, and no run. Well, I think it's safe to say these two quite like batting against this Leicestershire bowling attack, but then the way they've bowled today, I think any professional batting lineup would have liked batting against them. Ben Green, again, it would have been a wide, but Lees had moved around in his crease and helped it down to long leg for a single.
It's sort of been highlighted by, I mean, this is the fastest century by a team doesn't matter. It's just a sort of it just sort of shows you how quickly the innings is going. It's not a sort of decent stat, but I think what sums up Leicestershire's bowling performance is that they wouldn't have got it if Ben Green hadn't bowled 2 wide.
This one again is on leg stump and a low full toss, but can't beat the leg side field, which were all out on the boundary. So in the end, it's not a bad over from Ben Green. Went for just 7 runs, but could have gone for a lot more. 103 without a loss after 8 overs.
In pursuit of 157. Oh, we've got a man with a bag. Other counties have the guns to come and shoot the T-shirts into the crowd. Leicestershire have got a man with a little satchel who's walking around handing some T-shirts out and chucking them rather unenthusiastically into the crowd, helped by Charlie Fox. Here's Rehan Ahmed, who's going to bowl. Leicestershire in deep trouble here. They are well up against it. Durham cruising to victory as it stands. 103 for no loss, 157 the target, so they need 54 to win inside, and they've got 12 overs in which to do it. Lees is on 62. A few big overs from him, and we could be getting in the car well before 9 o'clock. Here comes Ahmed, back goes Lees, and he cuts to cover. There is no run. Ahmed, he got 3 for 33 against Yorkshire last time out. Doesn't look like he's going to get similar figures today. Ahmed in, that's the wrong one, and it doesn't spin at all. Outside off stump, Lees cuts it down to long off. 104 for no loss. Ahmed bowling right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Clark. Now he's 36 not out. In comes Ahmed, tosses this up. It's nearly in the slot. Clark's eyes light up and he drags it down the ground for a single. So 3 runs off the first 4 balls from Ahmed. Required run rate is down at 4.5. They're going at 12.5 and over. Durham. In comes Ahmed and forward comes Lees and pushes this into the offside. It's fielded by... Is that a substitute fielder out there? I'm trying to think. It might be Josh Davey, opposite backward point. Here is Ahmed moving away from us. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, and that is kicked down the ground with a beautiful arc of the blade, testing for the man at long on. That's Ruan Desward, but he does well, taking it at shoulder height right on the boundary rope. That is the end of the over, and a decent over that for a Leicestershire perspective, but it was no real trouble for Durham, who finished 107 for no loss. So the 4 runs off it in the end. There's 11 overs left, and it's 50 needed to win for Durham to get their 4th win of the campaign. It will take them, depending on the Derbyshire results, up in 16, but they've started at a very quick rate, by the way, at Somerset. They're chasing 215. They're 93 for 2 of 8 overs. I know Aaron Donald has gone ballistic again.
Josh Davey back into the attack. His first over going for 14, and this is well bowled. Lees couldn't time the drive, and there's no run to mid-off. And you just see in these last few overs that the Durham batsmen have struggled to time the ball, and so perhaps it's not that easy a pitch to bat on, and you just wonder if Leicestershire had been a bit more disciplined early on, this could have been a tricky chase. As Davey comes in again, a fairly long run up into Alex Lees, who drives out to the sweeper on the offside where Liam Travaskis fields for 1 run to Alex Lees's total. 65 runs to his name off 35 deliveries. This innings has taken him well past 400 runs for the season. He's now 1 away from 450, so he'll be looking to pass the 500 mark, which is a very impressive feat in 12 innings of T20 cricket. Davey wide of the off stump and flashed to the offside sweeper, who is Ahmed, for a single. 108 of just 9.2 overs. The crowd have largely stuck around, but there hasn't been too much for Leicestershire to cheer about. You just thought they had built a bit of momentum at the end of their batting innings, but all of that was gone pretty much instantly, the way these Durham openers came out and batted. And that's another lovely shot from the middle of Alex Lees's bat. It was a well pitched up delivery, And Lees has just manufactured an extra cover drive off that. Right, he's gone deep in his crease and turned what was potentially a Yorker into a half volley and got it away through extra cover for 4.
So much bottom hand in that shot. It was beautifully played to dig that out of a Yorker length and get real power and pace on its superb shot. Just looks a bit too easy for Durham. They're able to now, they're in a position where they just need to punish the bad ball and they're home.
That's slower ball bouncer from Davey that Lees gets on top of. Takes a single to deep square leg. And yeah, I mean, it's really just batting practice now for these two. Need 4.2 and over. 5 on the boundary. It's pretty easy to go at 4 and over. Josh Davey, 1.5 overs, none for 21. Bangs this into the pitch. Clark pulls flat and caught by Liam Travaskis at mid-wicket. And finally, the Leicestershire faithful have something to cheer, and they have cheered it pretty well. Josh Davey at last making the breakthrough. It was pulled very well, actually, from Graham Clark, and he might be slightly frustrated that he has perfectly picked out Liam Travaskis on the mid-wicket boundary. He goes for 38 from 23 balls. Played second fiddle to Alex Lees, but a partnership of 114 runs off 10 overs has put this game beyond doubt.
I think 5 metres either side, and he would have got 6 for that. Unfortunate for Clark, who's plays very well. He's been the bridesmaid to Alex Lees' bride, but certainly kept the impetus and the aggression up between these two, and he did really well there to build another record-breaking partnership for Durham at the top of the order. And McKinney can come in now and hopefully just finish the job. I have rarely seen a wicket so little celebrated by both the Leicestershire players and the Leicestershire fans. It was almost a sort of dismissive throwback from Travaskis there. I think there's been some poor performances in this T20 Blast. There's been some good ones. You know, there was those 3 wins in a row where you sort of thought Leicestershire might be in it. The time that the break came at absolutely killed them. But I think this has been the most disappointing of all of their performances. They, 150 looks nowhere near a decent total now, 157, and they laboured to that. And 2 very good batsmen have made light work on it in what looks like a very good pitch. Ashton Turner is going to bowl. This is his first bowl in 3 matches. He comes in, right arm round the wicket and bowls a delivery just short of a length, and it's beaten backward point, but there is a sweeper on the offside who's going to run in, Rishi Patel, and launch it one-handed into Ben Cox, the wicket keeper. 117 for 1 the score as Turner is in. And back goes Lees and guides this into the leg side for a single. So that's 118 for 1. McKinney on 1. Lees now on to 73. He'll have an eye on a century. Just has a look around. As Turner comes in, that's a fuller delivery, floated. And there's no one in the infield on the leg side, so it's just clipped to mid-wicket. So Lees has got at least 1 first-class T20 100.
Yeah, he scored one against Middlesex last week at Richmond Park.
Ooh, lovely. Is that where that's where the rugby grounds are as well? I think is that sort of London Scottish play. Just over Kew Bridge, I think. Here's Turner in on the stumps, and that's flashed by Lees straight at cover. Left-hander waits as Turner comes in, bowls, and back goes Lees and pushes him into the leg side. It's spilt by Travaskis, and they're going to come back for 2. He's got 200s in T20 cricket, Alex Lees.
Are you having a look at where I'm talking about? Or was it just... Did you say Richmond Park, or what was it, Richmond?
Richmond Old Deer Park.
Yes,
I don't know if they're the same.
That is, Old Deer Park is where London Scottish play. It's a big sort of sporting complex there. Turner driven down the ground by Lees, who picks up another single, moves on to 76. Yeah, beautiful venue around there. Some incredible cricket grounds. That is the end of the 11th over, and Durham are 121 for 1. They need 36 to win off 9 overs, and they're going to saunter their way to it. They need to just go 4 and over. Yeah, it's just over. There's a... I don't know how well you know that part of London, but you go over Kew Bridge just past Brentford's football ground, and then there's this amazing ground just on your right hand side on Kew, just by Kew Gardens, and then you go a little bit further on, and then there's a great cricket pitch there. Obviously that's where Middlesex have some of their outground games, and London Scottish, I think there's another team, Richmond play there as well. Rugby.
Rehan Ahmed will begin his 3rd over. He's bowled all right, 2 overs for 15, but that's too short, and it's slammed down the ground from Alex Lees. He's played that shot a few times off the back foot over the bowler, which shows that it's too short from Ahmed, and he goes to 80 with yet another boundary. This one's flatter, and it's bowled Alex Lees, and he throws his head back in disgust. He gave himself room. Ahmed fired it in off the pads of Lees and into the stumps, and another consolation wicket for Leicestershire. A canny bit of bowling from Ahmed, who has darted this one in quicker, knowing Lees was going to try and give himself room. But a fantastic knock from the Durham captain, 80 from 44 deliveries, and he has destroyed any possible Leicestershire hopes of victory here. 9 fours, 4 sixes, and well, he's had to do most of the work for Durham this season in the T20 Blast, and he's shown just how capable he is of doing so today.
Wonderful bowling from Rehan Ahmed. Trying to go inside to out, wasn't he, Lees? But just followed him, got the ball to really spin off the surface, Ahmed. It's a great piece of bowling. I feel sorry for Lees. He deserved 100 there.
The new man is Colin Ackerman, who struck with his first delivery with the ball earlier. This first delivery he's faced is driven to long on. Looked like the wrong one from Ahmed. It is a single for Ackerman. 126 for 2. These two come to the crease needing 32 from 52, now down to 31. And, well, they should waltz home. Ahmed, again, it's a touch short, but finds a bit of grip in the surface, and McKinney flat bats it down to long off for another single. Ahmed has bowled probably as well as any of the Leicestershire bowlers have here. 1 for 21 from 2.4 overs, and that's drawing Ackerman forward and off the outside edge, too short third man for a single. To Josh Hull, who interestingly has only bowled 1 over, the first over of the innings, that went for just 6 runs. As Ahmed finishes his 3rd over, this one was tossed up, and Ackerman took the bait and has hit it cleanly down the ground, all along the floor for 4 runs.
Yeah, lovely shot. Ahmed had put him on the back foot a little bit there, but he tossed that one up. It's not a bad ball at all from Ahmed, but he got to the pitch of the ball there and crunched it down the ground. It's wonderfully timed. Not a bottom hand in that shot. And there's a Durham supporter having a bit of a jig. He's up on the big screen. That's good to see.
I don't know if they were Durham fans, but when the teams were being announced, there were cheers at every single name of the Durham side. So I wonder if a few of them have made the long journey down.
Still going, that boy. Dancing to Rasputin by Boney M. Boney M. I don't know why I said it like that, Rasputin. I said it like Boney M did. 131 for 2 is the score, and so De Swart, who's going to bowl his 2nd over. His first one went for 18. Can he do better this time? McKinney is the batter. He's a left-hander, 2 from 2, and Swart is going to bowl right arm round the wicket to him, running away from us. South African international. Storms in, past the umpire, bowls, and off the toes. It's glided away by McKinney. He will get a single. Playing for England Lions, I was reading, just after 3 first-class games, so I'm sure we will see him in an England shirt at some point. Were you saying he's about 6'7"?
Well,
he's tall, isn't he?
Well, you said Casey Aldridge was 6'5", and when he bowled his one over, McKinney at mid-off looked at least a couple of inches taller than him.
1-3-2-4-2. Durham require 25 to win, and they are nicely cruising towards that total at the moment. The run rate has dropped away, but it's very comfortable for them as Ackerman goes back and tries to clip this away through mid-wicket, but he finds the fielder in the ring.
He is indeed 6'7", Ben McKinney, just over 2 metres.
25 to win the Duckworth Lewis par on 86. They are 50 clear of it in the 13th over. The floodlights on, even though they don't need to be. There's not a cloud in the sky. Orange around us, as in blue sky. As a delivery on leg stump from De Sward, and Ackerman rocks back and flicks it away through square leg for a single. Leicestershire next in action on Friday night, same with Durham. Coverage of that across the BBC. Let me give you the updates on the other scores in just a second. Sward is going to run away from us on this Wednesday evening, past the umpire bowls, and McKinney comes across his stumps, but he's squared up by De Sward, and is a leading edge straight back to him. He dives on the floor. So Derbyshire 117 for 3 in pursuit of 215 against Somerset. That's in the 12th over. Madsen and Montgomery batting there at the moment. Donald with 6 sixes in a 67 there. Glamorgan in a lot of trouble against Northamptonshire, who have won 8 of their 9 games in the Central and West group. Here is De Sward. Beautiful straight drive from McKinney, who will pick up a single for his trouble. Too long off. De Sward rubs his elbow as he dives to stop that. Glamorgan 106 for 5 after 13 overs in pursuit of 218. Then in the South Group, Surrey 104 for 1 off 11.5 overs, chasing down 177. Sussex have struggled even more than Leicestershire and Durham, so they should win that. Jason Roy's 59 not out at the moment there at the Oval. And then Middlesex 38 for 1 off 4.5 overs, chasing 160 against Hampshire. In comes De Sward, and that is clipped off the hips beautifully by Ackerman. It's a lovely time shot. Alex Green fields on the fine leg boundary. That probably deserved more than a single, but that's all he'll get for it. 135 for 2 is the score. Just 4 off that De Sward over. None for 22, his figures after 2. And Durham are 135 for 2. The issue is they only need to go at 4 and over to cruise home. Leicestershire's net run rate will take another battering. They've really struggled in that. We were talking, Oliver, about what Leicestershire could do to improve their T20 fortunes, because they've really struggled in recent years, and I think they need to find a way to stop getting battered. Basically, it's very rare that Leicestershire. It's very rare that we have close games.
Ryan Ahmed will bowl his final over. He begins with a ball on leg stump that's turned to fine leg, where Hull fields, and then a wayward throw into the keeper nearly results in an overthrow. Ahmed back in again, and Ackerman is back in his crease and cutting out into the offside for a single. And yeah, I mean, the 2 T20s that I've been here for, the first one was the Derbyshire game where they hit 230, and then this one where Durham, probably if they were batting first, would have been aiming for a similar sort of total. As Ahmed is in, and this one wraps McKinney on the pads and just dribbles out in front of Cox. And as mentioned earlier, Leicestershire have only scored 180 once, so you can't afford to be giving up over 10 and over with the ball. as McKinney steps back, slams this one over the sight screen for 6. It's a similar shot to the one Lees had played so well throughout his innings, but a bit of extra elevation, just rocking onto the back foot and flat batting it straight down the ground, and he's used his long levers there to full effect. Flew over the boundary for 6.
Yeah, magnificent shot. As you say, made room for himself. Not much follow through on the shot, was there? But he really clubbed that down the ground. Great shot. Now 15 to win.
Can Ahmed come back here? This one's fired in, but McKinney's timed it really well. Mid on, or long on, in fact, is very wide, and it beats him for 4. An excellent piece of timing again from McKinney with the on drive. And the target now for Durham approaching single figures. Ahmed has bowled well today, but perhaps just losing it slightly in this final over. 1 for 36 his figures, as he will bowl his final delivery of the night flat, and McKinney pushes down too long on for a single. He has 15. Durham have 147 and need just 10 runs to win off of 36 deliveries.
I think I will head down in a second, Oliver, to get some post-match reaction. We'll have a chat about this game as well. You'll be able to hear it on the Talking Foxes podcast. But just to finish our point, yeah, absolutely. The bizarre thing is, my experience with Leicestershire has always been that they don't win by tight margins either. They either thrash teams or get thrashed, which I think suggests to me that they can work well as a team. When they work well as a team, they will dominate teams, but they don't have that individual quality to be able to drag games back from nowhere, and they don't have those big hitters or strike bowlers who are going to change games for them. And we discussed on the podcast, it's understandable why they don't have those. They need to recruit players because they haven't got as much money as everybody else. They need to recruit players that will work for them across all 3 formats in terms of their overseas group. Well, that's certainly a decision they've made, but that is one of the consequences. Josh Hull is going to come in and bowl, and he bowls a slower ball off a good length first up. And that is guided away on the leg side. McKinney will just take a single. It is under 10 now for Durham to win this. They won the first game with 6 overs to go. This one is slightly shorter, or slightly better from a Leicestershire perspective, I should say, as we are now into the 15th over. 148 for 2, 157 the target.
I have to say I'm confused why it's taken this long to get Josh Hull back into the attack. I don't think it would have made a difference to the result ultimately, but bowled the first over, bowled one loose ball, but otherwise was right on the money, and then we haven't seen him again until the 15th when the game is gone.
Here's Hull in, and that smashed up in the air. I think he might be caught here. Oh, there's a great attempt by Ben Green, but it just evades the clutches of his one-handed effort, and they will come back 4-2. Ackerman just trying to heave it down the ground and see things off very quickly indeed. He sadly didn't quite connect as he would have wanted to, but he has got away with it. So the score moves on to 150 for 2, just 7 to win. Ackerman waits against his former team. We also saw Callum Parkinson make a decisive impact against his former team. Can Ackerman do the same? It's a slower ball and a very good one from Hull. You're right, he has bowled very well today, has Josh Hull, and he gets a single there. Oh, sorry, no, he gets a dot ball there, which means that the score remains on 150 for 2. His figures none for 9 after 1.3 overs. So me and Oliver will have a chat, just review the game while we wait for an interview, which we'll hopefully get quite quickly. I suspect they will want to see me and get off home after this performance. Leicestershire, it will be a 4th defeat in a row. Durham, a 2nd win in 8. And there's a huge hit from Ackerman. That has cleared the boundary and about 6 rows back in the stand too. That means the scores are level, 156 for 2. I'm going to head down and let you finish things, Oliver, as the score's 11.
Well, a clean strike from Ackerman, and taking the pace off has worked well for Josh Hull, but that ball got the treatment from the former Leicestershire man, who has 16 off 11 deliveries, and they have any choice of the last 32 here to record the winning run. It's another sorry performance from the Foxes, who, you know, we always felt were short with the ball, with the bat, but a strong bowling performance would have certainly kept them in the game, and it could have been a defendable total, but not with the way they've bowled. Josh Hull will manage to find a dot ball, which is met by some ironic cheers as it's played out into the offside for no run. And they've just been second best in every aspect today of Leicestershire. The only positive really you can take from this game is the fact that they haven't dropped a catch, whereas Durham dropped 3. But that is certainly reaching for positives. Hull comes in again, and this is cut away between backward point and third man. Ackerman finishes the job off for Durham. A completely professional performance from the side from the north of England. Ackerman finishes on 20, and Durham have wrapped this one up exactly 5 overs early to win by 8 wickets. Leicestershire had made 156 for 8 earlier in the day, but really they were lucky to even reach that score. A good innings from number 9, Josh Davey, scraped them up past 150 when it had looked at one stage like they were going to struggle to even make 120. And it proved to be nowhere near enough for the Durham batting lineup. Alex Lee's doing the majority of the work with 80 runs in a huge first wicket partnership between himself and Graham Clark. As we mentioned earlier, Durham's fastest 100 partnership in T20 Blast cricket, breaking the record that was set earlier this year against the same opponents by 1 delivery. And an ill-disciplined bowling performance from Leicestershire, who couldn't find any consistency with the ball. Durham deserved victors at the end of that one, and simply outclassed the hosts. It was set up by strong bowling performances across the board really from Durham. Bryden Carse set the tone with a quick opening spell alongside Matt Potts, and then the spinners did the majority of the work through the middle overs to run you